What's going on, my fellow A-Plusers? Welcome back once again to our brand new episode. It is I, your host, Adam Perez, certainly coming through for a brand new episode of A-Plus Hero Report, your weekly stop for your Marvel, DC, television, and movie news right here over on our YouTube page, going live as well as streaming live over on Facebook as well, ladies and gentlemen. So wherever you're certainly watching us from, thank you very much for certainly joining us here, spending your weekend with us, guys. And of course, as always, if you continue to love our content, hit that like button, guys. It definitely does go certainly a long way. But we've got ourselves a ton of topics that we're going to be breaking down for you guys today. But always remember, these are simply just our A-plus opinions. At the end of the day, we want to know yours. What do you guys think about some of the stories that we go ahead and tackle this week? Let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below, guys, to go ahead and push forward with some great discussions for you guys today. But we're back. I know we had July 4th weekend off. Wanted to give everybody the opportunity to spend with their family, have a good day off to themselves. And now we're back in the saddle, guys. Back to work, to certainly say the least. And we're here to go ahead and give you a brand new episode. 6 topics, some honorable mentions we'll go ahead and tackle before we do. But before we get to that, let me introduce you, as always, to the entire gang joining us here. We got Indy and Stuart in the house. What's going on, fellas?
Not much. Just trying to stay awake.
Stuart, I'm loving the locks, man. I'm loving the locks just continuing to grow. I feel like you should be on like a rock band or something with a microphone in your hand. Something, man. What's your shampoo conditioner game like? I want to know, man. Let us know.
Yeah, no, I don't use conditioner that often, believe it or not. I usually just use Head and Shoulder, and it works really well.
Good hair.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's actually really funny. I kind of wish some of the older videos from the previous channel were still up because if I remember correctly, I think I had like a buzz cut back when quarantine first began. So if you like go back to like our earlier videos, you can like see it slowly grow week after week.
I feel like people have seen my hair slowly grow over the past 3 years. I don't remember the last time I've actually had a buzz cut or actually cut my hair short, sort of thing. Stuart, can you give us a little Head and Shoulder commercial wave with your hair, man? Can you pull that up?
Oh, if only this camera had like a slow-mo feature.
Head and Shoulders, I'm telling you.
Like Prince Charming from Shrek.
Why we don't have sponsorship from Head and Shoulders, you and me, Stuart, I have no idea. But Head and Shoulders, if you're watching, come on, help us out here. What's going on, Indy? Good to see you, man. While you may not necessarily have the hair here, you're growing that beard out, looking good, man.
Yeah, the beard's getting there. It's starting to fill in, so I don't have patches now. So people in the comments, you can stop calling me Patches.
Oh, that's a new nickname, man. That's messed up that they give you that nickname. And also, just to clarify, not that Indy's bald, to certainly say the least, but he got a great set of hair, but that beard is popping today, man.
No, I'm hiding the grays. I didn't use Just for Man today, so.
Oh, is that okay? Yeah, man. Maybe we should just get some hair products for this show to start sponsoring us. That's the key here. But yeah, great to see everybody here today. We definitely, regardless of who's going to be joining us, we definitely will be having a Black Widow spoiler discussion for you guys. So if you guys have had the opportunity to watch Marvel's Black Widow this weekend, we are going to be going live with that review at about 4 p.m. Central Time for you guys later on today. If anything, maybe I'll move it back a little bit later. We'll see, but it's definitely happening for you guys today, to certainly say the least. It's already ready to go up on our YouTube page, but we'll definitely discuss that. But how's everybody's weekend been? You guys been doing all right over there?
Yeah. It's gotten kind of busy at the theater, but thankfully we finally got like actual staffing now. Like before, for like Fast and Furious, for example, we were just completely understaffed, and I had to have way too many employees like multitasking, like one person doing both register for concession and bar at the same time. And when you have a Fast and Furious movie and everyone wants to have a beer when watching this movie, it's quite a challenging job. So it's like one of those things where I feel like the last couple weeks I'd been asking too much from the employees, but this week it's like for Black Widow, I feel like we've actually had a really decent amount of employees that have we've recently hired. So I've been able to get like everyone in one position. I don't have to ask anyone to multitask anymore. It's great.
Nice. Yeah, I'm assuming maybe Fast 9 kind of put everybody on notice that, man, the box office is back, right? We need to get some more workers in here to help out, to certainly say the least, making sure everybody was ready for Black Widow. What about you, Indy? What you been up to this weekend, man?
Well, I just want to say Black Widow told Fast 9 to hold my beer. said we could premiere on 2 platforms and still get it done. Yeah. Shouts out to Nerdum. I've been cool, man. I've been cool. I got a new setup around here. Got a new desk. Was moving some stuff around. Was being lazy. Almost didn't think I was going to make it in time because I couldn't figure out where I put stuff at. Forgot how to plug stuff in. It was interesting. The last me waiting until 11:15 to start setting back up.
Don't you love that last minute procrastination? Like, damn it, I should have did this earlier.
Yeah, but nah. We had a great time yesterday. Daughter's first birthday.
Awesome, man. Congrats.
Yeah, that was, and yeah. Thank you. Congratulate me for
surviving the first year.
For surviving. No, for me keeping this human being alive for a year. Yes, I did it, guys.
I feel you.
Nah, it was very interesting. Went to the zoo, went out to eat, and then came back and sat down and watched Black Widow for like the 4th time.
Oh, man, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. I've only seen it once. I do want to try and see it one more time, if possible, this weekend. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But guys, thank you once again for certainly joining us. Before we get into some of our main topics, as always, listen, we do at the end of our show certainly tackle your guys' live viewer questions. If you have any live viewer questions, feel free to submit them over at any particular point in time to aplusopinions@gmail.com. You can submit them throughout the week if you like. If you read a news article or you watch an episode of something, if you have a question for us, submit them over at any particular point in time, and we'll definitely get to them at the end of this particular show, just in case if we happen to miss them in the comment section, to certainly say the least, guys. But before we get into our main topics, as always, we've got some honorable mentions on deck for you guys today. Do you guys have any honorable mentions you want to start off with?
I mean, if somebody else wants to start, I go back in the group and look what I put up.
I definitely got one.
What's up, Stuart?
I definitely want to at least for a brief moment bring up the tweets from James Gunn recently that have pissed some Marvel fans off. For me, I kind of expected it, though.
What did he say?
So recently he was doing kind of a thing on Twitter where he was talking about actors that have been in both the DC extended universe and the MCU as well. And someone brings up I forgot the actor's name, but he was also in Smallville. He plays Lex Luthor's dad. And he was bringing up how this guy was in both Shazam and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And then James Gunn replied, "Oh, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't actually part of the MCU." And people were like saying, "Yeah, it is. It's part of, the Marvel TV, so it's canon." And he goes, "According to who?" And that's when someone tries to say according to Marvel, and he goes, "Actually, that's incorrect. Any Marvel show pre-WandaVision is not canon to the MCU." So it's one of those things where I'm curious if Kevin Feige was okay with him saying that, because anytime Kevin Feige has had this question come across him, he's always found like really clever ways to avoid answering it. But James Gunn is kind of the first like Marvel director who's just given a straight up answer and said no. So I'm wondering if Kevin Feige's okay with that, or if he's relieved that he's not the one who has to break the news.
Oh, I think he's 100% relieved. I think if anything, Kevin Feige, I feel like, is the person that he's got to work both sides. You know what I mean? You got to make everybody happy, to say the least. But if anybody else wants to go off the hinges and say whatever they want, hey, you take the heat, James Gunn. Kevin Feige over here, he'll deal with it.
This is what I'm going to say to James Gunn, and I'm pretty sure that he hasn't. I'm pretty sure he hasn't even watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Probably not.
I'm pretty sure he hasn't watched, because the first two seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. were hindered by what was happening in the movies and trying to tie stuff in. It wasn't until after they got out of that is when the show really started to find its own stride and do what it's supposed to do. So the first 2 seasons are definitely canon. I mean, you had a Nick Fury, Maria Hill, you had all types of cameos in the first 2 seasons and tie-ins to Age of Ultron and different things that were going on. I mean, nobody gets saved off that floating city if it wasn't for what happened in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
See, Stuart, this is a case of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans just trying to make a plea for it to fit.
It's 110% facts. I feel at least the first 3 seasons of canon, when they started to go into space and go through the time traveling, is when they branched off, and everything they did had no matter to what was going on in the MCU. So that's what makes me feel like a lot of people who are commenting on it, Feige, that's one of the reasons I feel like Feige won't like say no, it's not a part, because then he starts getting all this backlash. But why were you trying to make it a part? Why was all this happening? This doesn't happen unless this happens.
I will say this though, to be fair, that wasn't Kevin Feige who wanted it to work. But yeah. Sorry, I'll let you keep going.
Now facts. But in talking about it, I really think Kevin Feige went, Loki's gonna fix this whole entire problem. So ask me that question again after the sixth episode of Loki. Yeah, after the season finale of Loki, and I'd be like, oh no, because they just rewrote the whole history. Nothing matters anymore. What happened before Loki? You know what I'm saying? So ask me then, because I really feel like that's what he's setting out to do with how he's explaining things in this. That I feel like the whole Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. series is a variant.
Yeah,
right
at this point, it definitely seems like a Nexus event off the timeline. The whole entire Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. series. It certainly might have started off with the intention of trying to be a part of the MCU, but definitely somewhere along the way, there definitely was a massive disconnect. Maybe it certainly was the changing of the guard when it comes to who's in charge of the MCU in general as the seasons wind up progressing. But yeah, maybe at some particular point in time, it certainly was. But Kevin Feige doing everything that he can to make sure that everything pre-WandaVision probably isn't according to Kevin Feige. But he's got to play both sides. He's got to keep everybody happy. Yeah.
And what I think it kind of comes down to was the CEO, whose name I always forget, but the one that everyone hates that used to be in charge of all of Marvel. He was the one who really wanted to make the connection to the shows happen, but he also wasn't being he wasn't communicating. According to Kevin Feige, this is what he said, is that he never got any communication with him or Jeff Loeb, and Jeff Loeb was the main producer on all the Marvel shows. Neither of them were communicating with him, so that's why, when it came to the latter parts of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and also even some of the Netflix shows, even though they all happened after Infinity War, none of them acknowledged the snap or anything, because none of the show writers knew about the snap or knew how it was all going to end.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. In Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the snap didn't happen. I really feel like once Coulson life was saved, that I personally feel like that was a Nexus event. That Coulson was supposed to die, and because they saved his life multiple times, because they kept saving his life, that what happened there was an actual Nexus event. But I don't even care. My whole thing about that is I don't care if it's even the same characters. I really feel like Chloe and a couple of other characters in there, you know what I'm saying, all should be able to reprise the roles that they had, even if it's a restructured, you know what I'm saying, character that we get. Because tell Ming Na that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. wasn't a Marvel thing, you know what I'm saying, that it didn't connect, because come on now.
Well, I mean, now that we are experiencing the whole multiverse thing, I almost feel like it automatically kind of makes everything that we've seen part of the MCU in some kind of crazy way, whether or not it's being acknowledged or not. But I will say this, I know you're looking towards the season finale of Loki. I think the big question for me will be Secret Invasion. I think that might be maybe Kevin Feige's last hurrah in regards to maybe trying to bring in some Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. members into the actual MCU. So while you're waiting for Loki finale, I think I'm waiting for a Secret Invasion to see if they pull that trigger. So we'll see what happens though.
Question. Speaking about because I know we're supposed to be doing the review for Black Widow. Did you watch that thing that I posted in the group chat with Volmir popping up as one of the Nexus events on that screen in Loki?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
Oh, I mean, I feel like we talked about this back in episode 2 when we reviewed it, when we were pointing out some of the different destinations that they that she wind up sending the bombs to. One of the things that we talked about was the idea for it to be Vormir. It brought into question whether or not Black Widow was certainly, in fact, alive or not, if they were going to pull a fast one on us. I think that was one of the reasons why I was even really pushing for that one scene in the trailer to be Black Widow and Loki or something like that, right? So I don't think so, but I don't know. We'll see. I mean, just based off of the movie alone, without giving spoilers away. I mean, is there a possibility? Sure, that she's still alive, but for me, I think she's dead.
I think it was there as an Easter egg because when it comes to those type of VFX, you can do them last minute, like day before they air. And I think it was there because of the feedback that they got from the trailer and everyone wondering if the person that Loki was sitting with in the trailer was Scarlet Witch. I think it was because of that they did that like on purpose as an Easter egg, but I don't think it's gonna like actually play out in the show.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Andy, what is that your honorable mention?
No, my honorable mention was the fact that they filmed, and I wish they would have kept this in. They filmed the fight scene between Throg and Alligator Loki that was taken out at the last minute because it didn't fit. Yeah, it said Loki writer describes the Frog Thor fight scene the show filmed and cut. Eric, what is his name? Eric Martin revealed that there was a scene because everybody notices the Frog Thor, and Chris Hemsworth was actually going to have a voice cameo because he was going to do the voice for the Frog Thor. So he said common fans will notice the Frog of Thunder in a jar. We actually shot a scene for the Time Theater in episode 1 of Loki getting pummeled by Frog Thor, but had to cut it to keep things moving. It's too bad because Tom was as funny as hell. Loki Midnight Theater.
So it was in episode 1 that
it was going to be in episode 1.
Okay. I mean, I can honestly see maybe why they cut it then. Like if you go back and watch episode 1 and you think, where is this even going to fit into place? I get the idea of them wanting to cut it, but can I get that on the deleted scene? Can I get that on the Disney Plus extra or something like that?
No, could we got that like in an end credit? Like you got a mid credit and end credit with it. That'd have been crazy.
That would have been pretty crazy. Yeah. What do you think about that, Stuart?
I hope they at least give us the storyboard for it. So even if it hasn't been animated at all, at least show us what it would have looked like.
Some pictures of it. Yeah. That would have been pretty. That would have been pretty epic. Who knows? Maybe we'll get ourselves a little limited series of Throg at some particular point in time, animated form.
Dude, have it be because we got a Rick and Morty writer working on this. Have it be animated in the Rick and Morty style. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm 100% down for that. All right. Other quick honorable mentions in here. The great ones though, guys. Definitely great ones. Real quick, I don't have too many honorable mentions, just 2 today. One of them actually comes to us from Netflix's Army of the Dead. This actually hit me as a big surprise. Zack Snyder wind up actually releasing brand new photos for an upcoming prequel to Army of the Dead, but it's called Army of Thieves or Army of the Thieves, if I'm not mistaken. And it's actually going to be with the damn it, what's this guy's name? The locksmith or let me see, Army of the Dead characters. What is his name? Dieter? Ludwig Dieter. Is actually getting himself a prequel series, believe it or not. He dropped brand new photos here. This is in fact Dieter with another safe that he's trying to crack open. Looks like he's got his gang of safe crackers and thieves also that are going to be joining him to go ahead and break into a brand new vault here. But according to Zack Snyder, this is in fact an Army of the Dead prequel. And then they also have an animated series that's supposed to be coming out. That's supposed to be an Army of the Dead prequel as well. So I think if anybody had the opportunity to watch Army of the Dead, there certainly are a ton of questions in there, trying to figure out exactly what this movie is, some weird sort of time paradox involved in regards to this as well. So I think the fact that Dieter is in fact getting highlighted again just shows there's certainly more to this to the Army of the Dead movie than we certainly first expected. He definitely came out as a fan favorite for many. So the fact that he's getting his own limited series, I find pretty fascinating. Is this a series that you guys care about, or are you more ready for like the animated series of Army of the Dead? What do you guys think of these?
I don't know, because like I thought like Army of the Dead was kind of a cool one-off film. That's about it. I don't really when I'm watching it, I didn't really think, man, I need this universe to be explored. I need like several different angles of this. You know what? I need a prequel to this without zombies in it. I never thought that. So I honestly don't know how to feel about this. Like, I'll definitely give it a fair chance, of course. I don't want to like, harshly judge it without watching it. But yeah, it just seems really bizarre to me is all.
Yeah, it says if, like me, you thoroughly enjoyed Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, you'll be intrigued by Netflix's prequel series, Army of Thieves, one of the two upcoming Snyder projects set in the same fictional universe. So yeah, man. What about you, Indy? How do you feel about the idea of us following Dieter here?
I honestly don't know. I feel like it could be something interesting. As we're seeing for Black Widow, even though we know what happens at the end, prequels can be very entertaining. So, you know what I'm saying? Just off that, I have no problem watching it. I'm more looking forward towards the animated. I want to know the after, or you know what I'm saying, the right before, that in between to when the the so-called zombie apocalypse started, in between what we ended up seeing. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want to see. I'm most interested in. And to me, he wasn't the most interesting character to follow. I feel like some of them other ones, like the little internet guy, the internet sensation, like a couple of them would have been more entertaining prequels, but maybe they got a plan for what they're doing. So like Stuart said, I'll check it out, but I don't know how entertaining or how into it I'm going to be.
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. I definitely would like to see a trailer and to get a little bit more info into regards to how this actually fits into the overall Army of the Dead story that we're telling. I think my anticipation, like you, is definitely towards the animated side of things, though, which I think is supposed to focus on maybe Dave Bautista's character when it actually wind up happening in Vegas for the first time. So we'll see what happens, though. But I found it interesting that we were, because I didn't even know Zack Snyder was working on this at any particular point in time. I think he's producing this limited series. So we'll see. Is this a series or this might be a movie? I'm not quite sure, but
I hope it's a movie. I hope
Yeah, I
it's a
think
movie and not a series. And I hope they decide to do something with Batista before. The man's old. He's not young. He's even telling you he's getting old. Like hurry up. Get everything you need to get done with this man. Get him back in the WWE for one more match or something like that. And then let that man go do what he do.
And then last honorable mention for you guys today, we wind up getting the trailer. Now, we did a video for this earlier in the week on APlus Hero Report, if you guys haven't had the opportunity to check it out. But after Loki winds up wrapping up, our next Disney Plus series is going to be that of What If. They went ahead and released a brand new poster along with a brand new trailer for this upcoming series. I think it dropped maybe like Monday or Tuesday. I can't quite remember off the top of my head, but I've personally have talked about it, but I wanted to go ahead and get Indy and Stuart's thoughts on it. One, how do you like the poster? And two, what did you think about the trailer, Stuart?
Poster looks incredible, and trailer also looked absolutely awesome. Some of the there were some like weird scenes in it that lasted for like 1 second, and those scenes alone have me asking so many questions. I think like the biggest one is Scott being like literally just a head in a jar, like in Futurama. You know, that's the one where I'm just like, whoa, what is going on there? And yeah, it's very intriguing. I'm very curious if like this will like end up tying into any of the movies or television shows. Like if this gets set up, for example, possibly by Loki, you know, basically Loki allowing all the variants to finally branch off, then this What If show is about those variants. Or if like possibly we even get a Doctor Strange like you know kind of setup, because we do see two versions of Doctor Strange fighting each other in the first trailer. So I'm wondering if maybe one of those is the Doctor Strange from the MCU. So a lot of I'm really anticipating the show. A lot of really cool things. The only kind of nitpick I really have about it is I'm not a big fan of from what little I saw. So that might change like when I actually watch it and you know, see him actually play out his full role. But as of now, I'm not too big of a fan of the guy they got playing Tony Stark, just because it sounds like he's doing it in a more like parody of Tony Stark's voice rather than actually trying to do Tony Stark's voice.
Oh, they weren't able to get Robert Downey Jr. back to voice him?
No, he's one of the few actors they couldn't get back.
Boo, Robert. Boo. What about you, Indy? What'd you think of this?
Well, don't boo them. One, you know how much that costs. Two,
Yeah, for Robert Downey. Yeah,
he was probably in the middle of filming that horrible movie he filmed with all the animals.
Oh yeah.
I'm 100% in on Captain Carter. I love the fact that she's wearing like the Britain colors and stuff like that with her, you know what I'm saying, being British. I'm just a simp for Haley Atwell to start off with. But the most interesting thing to me is the time that they actually gave you to spend with T'Challa, and you know what I'm saying, in his role with being a Ravager. And that most likely being, you know what I'm saying, the last time we're here, you know what I'm saying, that amazing voice, you know what I'm saying, newly for the last time. Like, we can always go back and watch his work, but this will be, you know what I'm saying, like the last new work we actually get from the amazing Chadwick Boseman. And you can tell how much, just in the way he delivered the lines, how much he loved, you know what I'm saying, that character. And it just seems like excitement in his voice of him, you know what I'm saying, playing the character, going in a different direction.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. When I heard his voice in here, I was just thinking to myself, like, man, I'm just thankful that that they were able to go ahead and bring him in to go ahead and actually do these lines, to say the least. But yeah, I'm super looking forward to it. I know Edward Sanchez. What's up, Edward? He said he was certainly pumped to go ahead and see What If. I definitely am, and a part of me is right there with you, Stuart, in the sense that I'm kind of hoping that when it comes to Loki, that maybe the events that transpire in the finale, maybe that leads us into this series What If. Even if it's not, I think it's brilliant marketing from Marvel, just in regards to how they've set up this release schedule for their Phase 4. You know, getting us used to the idea of Nexus events and the timelines and the multiverse in something like Loki, and then hitting us with a What If. You know, you do make also that connection with Doctor Strange. I do wonder if because when you watch the trailer, it seems as though somebody's talking to Doctor Strange. Maybe it's the Ancient One or somebody else explaining to him the idea and the concept of the multiverse. And I'm wondering if this is Doctor Strange kind of taking a journey through all these different multiverse moments, or if this is like some, you know, we saw him in Infinity War talking about all the outcomes that he wind up seeing. Who knows if maybe these are some of the outcomes that he's traveling down. I'm not quite sure, but I do hope there's a big emphasis on a Doctor Strange from this, and then eventually leading into his movie. But it looks great. I think the imagination and the creativity that's going to go into this series is really going to blow people away, and I hope that we have some really surprising storylines that I don't think, you know, that some people aren't expecting that we get. Like, one of the things that jumped out to me was the Vision and Ultron stuff that we wind up getting in here, like different variations of them. So I'm kind of curious to see what some of their storylines are going to be that they'll tackle. But yeah, guys, we want to know your thoughts. What did you think about the What If trailer? What's your level of anticipation? Any particular storylines that are jumping out to you that you want to learn a little bit more about? Definitely let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below. All right, guys. And I think with that, that's going to do it for all of our honorable mentions. And now it's time to certainly go ahead and get into our main topics for the day. Are you guys ready to go ahead and tackle this with me?
Always.
Let's do it. All right, guys. First story that we're going to get into, we'll play in the world of DC for a little bit before we transition over to other franchises. This one will be in the world of the DC Cinematic Universe, as we're raring to go when it comes to the upcoming James Gunn film, The Suicide Squad, that I believe is set to drop either this month or August sometime. But one of the television shows that's going to be spinning out of the Suicide Squad movie itself will, in fact, be The Peacemaker, the John Cena-led Peacemaker spinoff series over on HBO Max. We've heard plenty about it. James Gunn is currently working very hard to go ahead and put it together. I believe right after he wrapped the Suicide Squad, he immediately jumped into this Peacemaker series. I believe it may be like 8 episodes or so, but James Gunn himself certainly is going to be directing quite a handful of these episodes as well. But this week we wind up getting ourselves not only a brand new photo, but really a little bit more insight into the upcoming series itself. Looks like they had a huge Empire magazine spread on the upcoming Suicide Squad movie, and within that they also talked a little bit about the Peacemaker. So let's go ahead and dive into this particular article and see exactly what they're talking about in regards to this upcoming series. So again, this is from Empire Magazine. It says Peacemaker first look at John Cena in James Gunn's The Suicide Squad spin-off series. Great close-up photo here of John Cena in his gear. It says there's long been a question around storytelling. Is it possible to tell an engrossing story where your central character is inherently unlikable or at least not a good person. It's a tricky balance, but television has long proved an ideal place to tell such tales. Just look at Breaking Bad or The Sopranos. When it comes to the Peacemaker, John Cena's character in James Gunn's upcoming The Suicide Squad, who's also getting his own 8-episode series on HBO Max, penned entirely by James Gunn himself, the filmmaker doesn't mince his words about how not a good guy he is. He says, Peacemaker's a piece of shit. He's not a good guy, and he wears the goofiest costume you've ever seen in your life. It says maybe that's why the Peacemaker series is the ideal place to explore such, well, a bad dude. Delving deep into the character across multiple hours of television. James Gunn goes on to say, he says, Peacemaker has a clear set of ideals that I find really interesting. It says James Gunn, who directed 5 episodes of the series himself. He says, you know, I want peace no matter how many men, women, and children I need to kill to get it. Sounds like nonsense, but it also makes a lot of sense. And you see in John's performance how he does not feel good about it. Something I thought was the seed of an entire 8-episode show. It looks like he says, as well as being a character study, which takes place in a wider DCEU, he lives in the world of Superman and Batman and Aquaman, and that is not an easy thing for him to contend with. The show will also involve a big science fiction story and delve into some real-world issues. James Gunn also says he represents a part of the world's populace that is problematic, to say the least, and puts him in a situation where he has to face the choices he made throughout his life and the extremity of his views. It looks like John Cena himself even had a couple words to say. He says this guy is loud, obnoxious, or broy douchebag. That sucks, but why? At what point did he become such a douchebag, and what does that mean? There's a lot to dive in there, according to John Cena as well. So, guys, we got James Gunn talking about a Peacemaker. We got John Cena talking. It's a brand new photo here from Empire as well. His suit is absolutely soaked. But I got to tell you, man, I'm actually really looking forward to this. I am really looking forward to the Suicide Squad movie as well. Anytime James Gunn gets attached to a movie, I'm certainly going to be there, to say the least. And the fact that they've given him the opportunity to not only create a movie, but a spin-off series of a character like Peacemaker, there's got to be something really special and really great about his story that that James Gunn was able to tap into to even warrant the idea of a spin-off series. So the fact that we're going to be getting one, I'm pretty intrigued. I know John Cena is not necessarily the strongest actor in the world, but I do think that if you put him in the absolutely perfect role, a correct role for what he's certainly more than capable of doing, I do think that John Cena can certainly shine as the Peacemaker. So I'm kind of intrigued to kind of see what the rabbit hole that they go down in here. The fact that we are going to get real world issues involved, the fact that we're going to see this man's personality and maybe a little bit of a brief history to kind of learn why he's doing the things that he's doing, the cost of what he's doing on him personally and emotionally. I'm kind of there for it. While he certainly is a douchebaggy type of guy, I am hoping that they elaborate a little bit more and really give us a full depth in regards to this particular character. So it definitely feels very much like he says a character study, but if they're also going to be involving a science fiction sort of storyline included, this sounds like right up my alley and something that's going to be pretty fun, to certainly say the least. But let me pass this over to you, Indy. You hear this news of the Peacemaker, everything that James Gunn and John Cena are talking about with this character. What's certainly jumping out to you when you hear these?
The fact that I feel like they're actually staying true to what the character was in the comics. And the one thing that I do love that DC does is that they make sure to try to present the character as, you know what I'm saying, they're always presented, except for Wonder Woman. But I'm really digging this, and this fits into the world. I feel like they're playing on the success of other shows that we might be watching on Netflix and how well they're doing, and that's one of the reasons why this particular character stands out. John Cena isn't known for his acting skills, except in the wrestling ring, where I feel like you have to act 110% of the time. you know. So if you follow his career, you know, once he's into a character, he can play a character. And I feel like this particular character is 110% what he should be doing. This takes him away from the good old boy, you know what I'm saying, USA thing that he's used to, but still keeps him in the same lane. I always want to see him as a heel that was tainted by, you know what I'm saying, what America had him doing. And I feel like this is the heel turn that every friggin' John Cena fan always wanted, you know what I'm saying, when he was wrestling. So I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought up the idea of this being like his heel turn, because you're absolutely right in regards to that. I do think this is going to allow him to tap into certainly a different character that we haven't really seen from him too much before. But I do think that he can easily carry this role. You know, just looking back at the article alone, I mean, I do love the fact that they do talk about that they are going to be, you know, that he's going to be representing a part of the world populace that is kind of problematic. And I feel like just based off of maybe where we're at in today's climate, you know, even going back to what he, you know, the DC comics represent, it would be interesting to kind of see what that mentality of the Peacemaker is, especially in today's climate, and really why he's doing what he's doing. So I find that rather interesting. What about you, Stuart? You hear this, some of the stuff coming from James Gunn and John Cena. What's your level of anticipation for this, and what do you think of the character in general?
Before I mention my level of anticipation, I'm calling it now. When the show comes out, you're going to have some idiots online that don't get the point and actually think he's meant to be the hero. I'm looking forward to seeing those kind of posts on Twitter just to get a good laugh, because you even had it for the boys at one point. I remember there were like some tweets like where like the way like some people were talking about was it Captain Homelander or just Homelander? I forgot.
Homelander.
Oh, Homelander. Yeah, people were like talking about him the same way we talk about Superman. It was freaking hilarious. But anyways, as for my anticipation, really high, because, you know, I really love James Gunn as a director and writer, of course, because he's done such a great job with the Guardians movies. And then, of course, some of his like earlier like exploitation films were always a lot of fun. So I definitely think I definitely see him having a lot of fun with this character. And with John Cena as an actor, like, he's not my favorite actor necessarily, but at the same time, I do think that when he's in the right role, he can really pull it off. And I do think that a character like Peacemaker is just perfect for John Cena. So I think that, you know, he's going to bring something really fun to the table with this guy, and he'll be like one of those characters that you don't like obviously you obviously will hate, but at the same time, you're going to enjoy hating him.
Yeah, I really hope that that certainly is the case. So I am definitely looking forward to that. Sorry, I want to get you guys back in your positions there. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you there, Stuart, for sure. But guys, we definitely want to know your thoughts. What do you guys think about the upcoming Peacemaker series? Do you agree with what the article mentions, that it is a tricky balance when it comes to getting a central character who was inherently unliked, or at least sort of not a good person? Because I feel like when they take characters like that, there's always this motive to then turn them anti-hero, or to turn them somehow into a superhero at the end of the day. I don't know what I'm not too familiar with Peacemaker's character when it comes to the DC comics. A lot of these Suicide Squad characters are brand new to me, so I don't know if he's meant to be that anti-hero sort of thing, or if this guy's just a douchebag, like if he's really just that bad of a guy. But do you think this is where they're kind of going with it, that they'll eventually make Peacemaker into a hero, or do you think this he's going to stick to being a bad guy?
It's going to depend on when the show takes place, because I don't think James Gunn has commented because he doesn't want to spoil whether or not he dies in Suicide Squad. But if it takes place after Suicide Squad, I think we're going to have redemption for him. But if it takes place before, definitely not.
I mean, Punisher, Harley Quinn. I mean, we've seen it happen before. It's not something that I want to see happen in a season. You know what I'm saying? It needs to develop into be that. You could see where, I don't know. We even seen Captain America turn against America and still be some type of anti-hero, but he's got a lot of blood on his ledger. You know what I'm saying? Like it's going to be something hard to overcome. So maybe more, like I said, in a similar aspect to Harley Quinn or the Punisher, we could see that. But I don't think everybody is ever going to view him as a hero. He just might do heroic things.
I get you. Yeah. And I mean, the fact that he does have a lot of blood on his ledger, like you mentioned, it'll be interesting to see how they handle that character, especially just the idea of his growth. Like, I really want to see like the mental anguish that it puts on this guy. Like, does it really bother him? I mean, clearly, according to James Gunn, it seemingly affects him in some sort of way. So I think for me, I'm going to be really fascinated to see how all that bloodshed has kind of affected this guy overall. So we'll see what happens. But guys, James Gunn not only doing Suicide Squad, also doing the Peacemaker. What's your level of anticipation? How do you like what James Gunn and John Cena are talking about when it comes to the Peacemaker character? Let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below, guys. And with that, we will go ahead and move on to the next topic. And this time again, DC television, to certainly say the least. Good old Indy over there wind up wrapping up Batwoman season 2 for us. If you guys have not had the opportunity to check out our reviews, they certainly are currently up on our YouTube page for this past season of Batwoman for you guys. But even though Batwoman has in fact officially wrapped, we are looking towards the future for the upcoming season in season 3 later on this fall, and we already have casting announcements that are in fact coming in hot and heavy, to say the least. And one casting announcement I was not expecting to see at all, but certainly thrilled nonetheless. It looks as though Miss Robin Givens is actually coming to Batwoman season 3. I don't know if you guys saw this one coming, but I certainly did not at all. Let's go ahead and talk about this real quick. This actually comes to us from Deadline.com. For Batwoman, Robin Givens joins season 3 of CW's drama as a series regular. So not just a recurring character, not just popping up as a cameo. She's here to stay for season 3 at least. This is an exclusive for them. It says Robin Givens, most recently from Riverdale, has been tapped for a key role in the upcoming 3rd season of Batwoman. Givens, a new series regular on the DC drama, will play Jada Jet, a powerful CEO for Jet Industries. Jada isn't bossy, she's the boss. Passionate and hardworking, a woman who has worked her way through life's ups and downs to climb her way to the top, all while being extremely protective over her impetuous son. A woman with a deep past that forces her to give up her firstborn child. Jada is a woman with a good heart, but will do whatever it takes to protect her family. It does say here that Givens is currently recurring in the HBO Max series Head of the Class, reprising her role as Darlene Merriman for the original series. And then it does also mention that she was in CW's Riverdale as well. So yeah, Robin Givens. Let me send this over to you first, Indy, since you are the man that likes to review Batwoman for us. You just got done with season 2. You hear this news for Robin Givens coming in for season 3. What are your thoughts, man?
First off, let me get up to Robin Givens because she's making sure she keeps that CW paycheck going. CW might be the place to go eat, especially if you're an established actor or actress. I'm a huge fan of Robin Givens. I've always been fond of Robin Givens. She's super dope. I like the role that they put her in because I feel like that's something that she could pull off without a shadow of a doubt. My only issue is that we're getting rid of characters in order to bring new characters in that we have to explain instead of furthering the relationships with characters that we have, because we still have the situation going on with Larry. It's Lucius and Lecter. Why do I always forget this kid's name? We got the issue with him and his girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? We just had Kate leave to go try and find Bruce. You have, Batwoman coming into her own, fully securing that mantle. You have Papa going off to jail. You know what I'm saying? We still haven't dealt with the backlash of that. You got a former Crow getting ready to join the team. So it's just interesting on what they could do, but they do need a new antagonist. Black Mask is still out there. I just think they might be bringing in too much and trying to pivot too quickly instead of wrapping up storylines they already have going on. But the one thing that I'm going to give Batwoman, especially this season, they juggled characters very well. They made sure that everybody got their little time to shine, and they seem that they're doing the ensemble thing better than even a show like The Flash that has been trying to do it for 7 seasons is even doing it. So I feel like if any show other than Legends can juggle bringing in more cast members, Batwoman could actually do that.
Nice, man. Nice. Yeah, while I haven't finished watching Batwoman season 2 as of yet, I do feel like maybe Robin Givens' character could probably fit into season 3 again. I don't know all the leftover sort of storylines that they certainly have, but I can easily see Robin Givens' character sort of either fitting into somebody's already storyline that they have kind of going, or the fact that what is the thing reference that she's going to be part of? She's a powerful CEO for Jet Industries. I mean, I would definitely like to see just like what role Jet Industries is going to be playing. Have they referenced Jet Industries at all in any of the past seasons of Batwoman, or no? Is this like a new company that they're introducing for the first time?
Look, I don't even remember Jet, and this is just me. I didn't really get big into I was only with DC. For me, it was Batman Enterprises and, you know what I'm saying, Green Lantern and Green Arrow. So I'm just now getting to the point where I'm really getting into collecting and reading DC lore. I don't remember Jet Industries. I remember Jet Comics, where they started the Green Lantern Corps, but I don't remember Jet Industries.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Well, personally, while I haven't watched Batwoman season 2 as of yet, I think this casting is absolutely amazing. If you ask me, like you, Indy, I'm a huge Robin Givens fan. I absolutely am. I mean, just looking at her IMDb page, I mean, just the past and the history and everything that she's attached herself to, just an amazing career so far. And when just based off of the description of her upcoming character, this is somebody I actually am really looking forward to seeing her play. Somebody that had to give up her firstborn child, willing to really do anything to protect her family, sort of thing. If you're a CEO of a company like Jet, like Jet, I'm pretty sure that there's probably something going on behind the scenes that we certainly don't know about. And if there is somebody that can maybe pull off that role, Robin Givens, I think, fits this idea of a CEO within Gotham, or whatever the case may be, perfectly. So sign me up, man. Sign me up. I think anytime that you add talent to a season is just a great thing. And I think a big name like Robin Givens will certainly bring even more eyes, I think, to the product, especially when you have somebody that's that well recognized and a big name like Robin Givens. I think this is definitely a win for the CW and Batwoman, to say the least. But what about you, Stuart? You hear this news, man. What are your thoughts on Robin Givens joining season 3, and how do you think she's going to fit into the show?
I feel like I don't know, because I feel like it might be too obvious, but because of like the stinger that they left us with Batwoman, I feel like there is going to be a direct connection between her and Ryan Wilder at the very end, or at some point during this upcoming season. I won't spoil it though, just in case like people out there haven't finished season 2. But I think that in the long run, it's going to be good for the show. One kind of issue I've had with Batwoman season 2, especially for the first half of the season, was just kind of like how disconnected Ryan really felt to like the whole bigger picture of Gotham. Like they kind of had her joining the Bat family like really fast and just kind of really like early on. So it made it so she had like kind of no like real. They kind of gave her somewhat of a history with Sophia-ish, but like when it came to like other side characters like Jacob Kane and that kind of thing, and then of course with Luke Fox and I think her name was Mary, right?
Mary,
Kate's sister. Yeah. Like it just felt very disconnected. So I think like what they're doing now with slowly kind of moving out like earlier characters, like they've kind of written out Jacob Kane out of the show. So I think now with the way they're kind of doing it, it's going to be a little easier to like have her as the main character if she has more people that she's connected to, because she's gotten to know all the characters now during season 2. So I'm really hoping like this means we can have more Ryan focused episodes, because that's something that I still, even though it got better in the second half of season 2, I still feel like that was like a major thing that season 2 was lacking, especially in the first half, which was like Ryan focused episodes. So if this person has the connection with her that was kind of hinted at, then we might have a lot more connection with Ryan Wilder, therefore getting her more character-focused episodes.
Stu, I believe they gave it away just in the description of
the character.
Yeah. Like,
I was gonna say, does this mean that, like, are there theories already out there that she's like Ryan's mom and things like that?
The minute you said it, like the minute you read the description, I went, "Oh yeah, okay." It clicked in my head. But also with the end, with the villainous tools and stuff, right? All the stuff that got set loose that now they have to try to get back that Batman had locked up. Just the description of the son, you know what I'm saying? How he's described as reckless and menacing. He had an encounter with one of Batman's villains that left him finding delight in the suffering and terror of others. The only person that can keep him in check is his mom. This makes me feel like this individual is going to be running around looking for these devices and wreaking havoc. So Ryan trying to take down her brother while her mother tries to keep her brother safe sounds like an interesting plot line for me. But that's not, to me, that's cool, but that's not the only casting that's rumored, because they do have out that they're looking to cast Renee Montoya into the
I've
universe.
heard about that too.
Nice. That'd be a great addition. Rosie Perez, where are you at?
So that makes sense to me. Now that makes the most sense to me with the breakdown of the Crows, because you need to bring some lawful stability back into what's going on in Gotham, because there's nobody there but protect Gotham. Because as we see, the cops aren't anything and can just be bought. Like the entire police force was bought by Black Mask with like there wasn't even an explanation. He just owns random cops. So it's pretty cool to see that particular casting, because that opens up the door for so many other people, you know what I'm saying, showing up in Gotham and on this show. So that I'm for, but I'm curious as to see if they're telegraphing their moves too early, or if they're doing that because they're finna fake us out and it's something totally different.
That's why I didn't want to say like they are definitely spoiling it for us. I feel like they purposely planted those seeds so we might, take that obvious leap that she's Ryan's mother. But knowing how like a lot of these TV shows tend to go, they usually do that to make you think you know what's going on, just to throw like a curveball at you, and then you might end up getting like a Rey type of reveal from The Last Jedi, where it's like her mother was just a person. That's it.
Yeah, it definitely could be lining up for that. But I think you pointed out something interesting, Stuart, in the sense that now that the Kate Kane story, or at least the idea of some of those strings, those storylines are kind of being wrapped up, the fact that maybe season 3 now is the time to start focusing on the Ryan Wilder story specifically, right? And maybe bringing in some characters that will just heighten either Ryan's origin stories or learning more about her past, if you will. And maybe this move to having Robin Givens and the Jet Company kind of come in and things like that. Maybe they are slowly transitioning to now letting season 3 be more about Ryan than anything else. So I do think that's certainly something we might certainly get. Any last thoughts in regards to this story, guys?
Can I make an unrelated comment, still related to Batwoman, but not necessarily related to this new casting?
Oh, okay.
If Renee Montoya is going to be coming in next season, I know the perfect actress to play her, because she's a huge Batwoman fan. She even wanted to take over Batwoman for season 2, but of course couldn't because of her other show. But it is ending this season, so Stephanie Beatrice from Brooklyn Nine-Nine should totally be Renee Montoya. That would be amazing.
Her name Stephanie what?
I agree.
Beatrice from Brooklyn Nine-Nine played Rosa.
I agree.
Oh,
I agree. I 110% agree, just because of the fact that she can act and the fan she is of the show already, and not just of the show, the fan she is of Batwoman in general. Yeah, I say, yeah, I'm 110% for that.
Well, hey, we called Wallace Day to be the new Kate Kane for season 2, and it eventually happened in his own weird sort of way. But so you guys heard it here first. Hopefully, Stuart lands that one also when it comes to Renee
Fingers
Montoya casting for you guys. But listen, guys, we want to know your thoughts. Robin Givens, very popular, certainly coming through once again, joining Batwoman season 3. Are you excited for her inclusion for this season? What do you think her role is certainly going to be? Let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below, guys. Next topic for you guys today that we're going to go ahead and get into, while not necessarily DC related, we're probably going to go a little bit more on the somber tones here as of right now to kind of break up our stories. But recently this week, guys, we had a passing of probably like a Hall of Fame filmmaker, if you will, in Mr. Richard Donner, most notably known for, I don't know, everything like Superman, Goonies, Lethal Weapon. I mean, the list continues to go on and on and on. But unfortunately, he did pass this week. There've been a ton of people that have been coming out and talking about him and things like that. And I really wanted to go ahead and just kind of give our thoughts on the passing of Richard Donner, what we felt like he might have done to just the world of movies, comic book movies, whatever the case certainly might be. But let's go ahead and dive into this article that went ahead and paid tribute to Richard Donner himself, guys. This actually comes to us from Deadline.com, letting us know that, Richard Donner unfortunately passes. He was 91 years old. I had no idea he was that old. 91 years old. Talk about an amazing life that he lived, all the accomplishments, just unbelievable stuff, guys. But it says, Richard Donner, the prolific Hollywood director and producer whose helming credits include some of the most iconic movies from the 70s and 80s, including and again, they talk about those 3 movies specifically: Superman, The Goonies, Lethal Weapon. He passed away Monday, according to his wife. No cause of death, unfortunately, has been revealed. The Bronx-born Donner, probably why I love this man so much, a genial man with a booming voice, started his career directing for television. His TV credits include shows like Route 66, The Rifleman, Twilight Zone, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., Gilligan's Island, Perry Mason, The Wild Wild West, and a ton of other more movies, guys. Let me see here. It also says it eventually led to 1978 Superman, the original superhero movie that starred Reeves as the Man of Steel. It also says, let's see, he also went on to try and do, I think, Superman 2, which his name was eventually taken off of after he went ahead and actually filmed majority of it. But there is a Donner cut out there for Superman 2, if you guys haven't seen it. But even Steven Spielberg recently came out and had some great words to say. He says, Dick had such a powerful command of his movies and was so gifted across so many genres. Being in his circle was akin to hanging out with your favorite coach, smartest professor, fiercest motivator, most endearing friend, staunchest ally, and of course, the greatest Goonie of all. He was all kid, all heart, all the time. I can't believe he's gone, but his husky, hearty laugh will stay with me always. And again, that comes from Richard Donner himself. Crazy, guys, to see that unfortunately Richard Donner is no longer here. I felt like there even talk of him or maybe his son, like somebody even trying to tackle a reboot of Lethal Weapon, or not even a reboot, but like a new entry into Lethal Weapon. Unfortunately, that never came to pass. But even at 91, this guy was still working and trying to create movies, which is unbelievable to me. But yeah, I guess, Stuart, let me kick this off to you first. Passing of Richard Donner. I know I believe you're a huge fan of the Goonies, if I'm not mistaken. What does this mean to you in regards to Richard Donner's passing, and any words you want to say in general?
First, with the Lethal Weapon thing, if you guys really want to see a sequel to Lethal Weapon, I recommend checking out It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. you get like an episode where like the crew from the show like decide to make a sequel on their own, and it's absolutely hilarious. But anyway, so going back to Richard Donner, sorry to go off topic there. Like Richard Donner is an amazing director. He's like, I've seen I don't think I've seen all 6 of the episodes that he directed of Twilight Zone, but I definitely have seen a few of them, and they're all like amazing episodes. And of course, the Goonies, like you brought up. Goonies, guys, for those of you who do not know, is literally my all-time favorite film. Just that movie has such a huge impact on my childhood because I used to watch that movie all the time as a kid. So I think it's safe to say that movie actually shaped me into who I am today in some way, shape, or form. I freaking love that movie, and I've probably watched it over 1 million times. So he has a huge impact on me from that movie alone, but just a lot of his other films. And looking at the big impact that he's made on the comic book industry when it comes to comic book films, with the movie Superman, I think, like, as far as I can look back on, this was kind of the first time you could really say a comic book movie has been, given like a more serious tone, has been like taken seriously, because, as much as a lot of people like to joke about how campy the Superman is nowadays, at the time it was a really unique type of film, because again, when you look at comic book movies at the time, you got TV shows like Batman and Robin, and that's kind of what people thought comic book movies would always look like, even though that was a TV show. People just thought like that's what they would always look like. Same with the Green Hornet, the really campy TV show with Bruce Lee in it. But with his version of Superman, it was the first time we really saw something very grounded in reality when it comes to a superhero like Superman. It showed. And what was great about it is that, it still felt very true to the comic books of Superman as well, while still being able to feel like it's set in its own unique, grounded reality. And, it's also like interesting how he could tell a unique story with Superman, not have a single like action scene in that film, and still like make it entertaining all the way through. I'll be honest though, I actually haven't seen the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2, but now that is on my list, definitely going forward. But yeah, like I don't know, there's not enough praise I can give this man, because he is such an amazing director. I don't think there's been a single film that, like, I'm not saying he's never made a bad movie, but I'm saying that I don't think I've seen a single movie from him that I didn't like.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at his IMDb page, just starting from 1970s, I mean, you've got The Omen, you've got Superman's 1 and 2, he did Lady Hawk, he did Goonies, he did Lethal Weapons 1, 2, and 3, Radio Flyer, Scrooged, which I think is a great film, Maverick, Conspiracy Theory with Mel Gibson. He even did Lethal Weapon 4, which I had no idea he did that one also, but then even 16 Blocks that he did, I think, with Bruce Willis. Goodness, man. I mean, the list, and that's just from the 70s to early 2000s. I mean, that's not even going back to seeing his television career all the way from the 70s back to the 60s and things like that. I mean, this man is as experienced as you can get. But yeah, for me, I think clearly, out of his big movies that he's done, I've always loved the Lethal Weapon sagas. I truly do. The fact that he managed to even get Mel Gibson and Donald Glover to even come back for all 4 iterations, the older they got, I think just continues to just show how much they love this man, and how great quality movies he was always able to dish out. But I think most people probably recognize him, or at least know him from his Superman stuff, obviously. You want to talk about movies that have really impacted the world of just comic book movies in general. I know that there are people out that will say, like, the current X-Men, the first iteration of X-Men and Blade, was a great sort of launching off point to comic book movies that we have today, if you will. will. But I think even if you go all the way back and look at something like Richard Donner's Superman, I think that sort of really, I think Richard Donner's Superman, and then even going into the future for X-Men and Blade, are some really pivotal movies for the comic book genre that really help kind of kickstart it and bring it to life. So I think Richard Donner is definitely going to go down in the Hall of Fame of directors, especially for the impact that he certainly has had. I mean, the fact that you have a Richard Donner Superman that people still go back to and absolutely love when they watch the first and second one specifically, and the fact that Richard Donner's Superman is almost still like the tentpole Superman that people almost expect to see these days, right? Like that's probably why Brandon Routh's Superman gets so much love, whether you loved Superman Returns or not, right? That same Boy Scout attitude that Brandon Routh wind up actually doing is very reminiscent, if not meant to be, that of Christopher Reeve's Superman, if you will, right? There's probably a reason why people push back against Zack Snyder's Man of Steel movie so much, right? There's just this inherent Superman that Richard Donner sort of helped create and bring to the big screen that I think after all these years, people are still emotionally connected and attached to. And so, again, incredible director, laying the landscape for comic book movies and just great movies in general. He certainly will be missed. 91 years old, a great life to certainly have lived. But Indy, you have any words in regards to the passing of Richard Donner or anything like that?
Rest in heaven. Scrooged was a life-changing film for me.
It's a great movie. Yeah.
Man, like that was 87.
I believe so.
87 to 88.
88.
I know I was in kindergarten. That's all I know. So it was probably like 88. I was in kindergarten. And I remember we watched that at school. I was in California.
They let you watch that in school? I feel like that might have scared the shit out of me.
Nah, man. Come on now. We built different back then.
That's true. That's true.
Nah, we watched it in school. It was a parents' day. It's like when our parents got to come to class, and I was in California at that time. And I just remember Bill Murray. I remember Frank Cross. I would never forget that character because I kept calling him Ghostbuster while we were watching it. I remember Carol Kane as the Ghost of Christmas Present. To me, the best interpretation of Christmas Present ever. And I remember I think I remember that's the first thing I ever saw Alfre Woodard in. And it was just the cast he would have in his movies, the way he would just cast people who deserve, you know what I'm saying, to have a part in a movie. And it just seemed like he wrote everybody's, whether you was somebody just to walking past, like everybody that, you know what I'm saying, whether he wrote and directed, he made sure that everybody felt like they were important in these films. Like I remember Scrooge, like the cameraman getting to like turn and smile, that, you know what I'm saying, that was filming the thing. Like everybody had their own little moment. And like Stuart said, he has a bunch of movies that are near and dear to me, whether it's Superman, Scrooge, The Goonies. Man, you brought up Lethal Weapon 4, and I just started having flashbacks to Mel Gibson fighting Jet Li. You know what I'm saying? At the end of that movie, just getting his butt beat. And it's just interesting to me how one person could have so much effect in your life. Like I could point out every 10 years something he did that affected me, you know what I'm saying, drastically as far as movies and stuff go. And that is something to be cherished and something to be honored.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Great words, guys. But yeah, guys, unfortunately, Richard Donner definitely leaving a legacy behind, quite impactful for directors all over the world or just movie makers in general. If you have a favorite Richard Donner movie, we definitely would love to certainly know what it was, how it certainly impacted you. But definitely feel free to throw your best wishes and your, endearing wishes out to his friends and family with his passing in the comment section box below, guys. So yeah, just wanted to go ahead and spend some time giving that amazing filmmaker some shine here on APlus Hero Report this week. But go ahead, Indy. Stuart, I'm sorry.
All good. So quick funny story I got to bring up about him that I heard. I don't remember which article I heard this from, but essentially Gene Hackman at the time of playing Lex Luthor, he had a mustache that Richard Donner was trying to get him to shave off for it, but he wasn't sure if he wanted to do it. So Richard Donner made the deal with him. Hey, if you shave your mustache, I will shave mine. And so it eventually got him to go through with it. And then after he shaved it off, Richard Donner just reveals, "Oh yeah, I don't have a mustache," and it was a fake.
No. I'd be pissed. I'd be pissed if I actually had. That's hilarious. Oh man, that's great. I think that just definitely shows his personality, to say the least.
Oh yeah,
Gene Hackman, very underrated Lex Luthor. Very underrated Lex Luthor.
Yeah, I mean, even when I look at John Cryer, there are elements of Gene Hackman that I think he does brilliant bringing to the big screen, which makes sense considering the fact that he worked alongside him for something like Superman 4. So I thought that was pretty awesome. All right, guys. But yeah, let us know your thoughts in regards to Richard Donner in the live chat or the comment section box below. All right, guys. With that out of the way, we will go ahead and tackle more movies as of right now. We'll stick into that particular realm, but I'm not quite sure if you guys saw it this past week, but when it comes to Amazon Prime and original movies that they have over there, The Tomorrow World wind up dropping, a sci-fi flick coming to us, Chris Pratt as the lead, if you will, wind up doing pretty big when I was going to say at the box office, but actually doing pretty big numbers for the streaming service itself. So much, in fact, that now The Tomorrow World seemingly is going to be getting itself a sequel. If you guys have had the opportunity to check out The Tomorrow World on Amazon Prime, I'm kind of curious to know your guys' thoughts. So let your thoughts be known in the live chat, whether you like the movie or not. But to certainly say the least, enough people like The Tomorrow World that it's actually going to be getting itself a sequel, guys. Let's go ahead and dive into this particular story here. This comes to us from Deadline.com as well. It says The Tomorrow World 2, Amazon and Skydance already in talks for a sequel, reteaming with Chris Pratt and director Chris McKay and more. Exclusive, it says, in response to this past weekend's hugely successful global streaming debut of The Tomorrow World, Skydance and Amazon Studios are in discussions, I hear, on the development of a sequel to the Chris Pratt sci-fi pick. I understand the discussions are in place to bring the whole creative team back, both in front of and behind the camera, including director Chris McKay and screenwriter Zach Dean, along with obviously Chris Pratt and everybody else. It says Paramount is involved in the sequel. The studio originally attached to distribute the first film theatrically. It says the global sci-fi actioneer launched on July 2nd around the world exclusively on Prime Video in over 240 countries and territories and debuted at #1 across streaming platforms over the weekend holiday. The film ranks as the biggest live action streaming movie of the summer as well, guys. So yeah, it's a big numbers right now. So yeah, as of right now, we're seemingly going to be getting ourselves a sequel to The Tomorrow World. I believe you guys have probably all seen it. Indy and Stuart, you guys have seen it, right? I know Indy has. How about you, Stuart?
I have not.
No, not yet. Okay. So if anything, let me go to Indy first here, because I feel like we dabbled in the conversation about it a little bit, but let's get a little bit more elaborate, Indy. What are your thoughts in regards to the first Tomorrow War, and does the idea of a sequel make sense to you?
I'm a borderline fan of Chris Pratt. You know what I'm saying? Like one of them things where I like some stuff he does,
like
and
a hit or miss.
And then there's other stuff I don't even know he did, but he's not. Like, I'm not trying to be offensive, but to me, he's not important enough for me to go check that stuff out. You know what I'm saying? So like, I dug the storyline of this movie, and let me get this straight: if this would have went to theaters, it would have failed horribly. I'm just going to put that out there. This was a great streaming movie for Amazon Prime, because it was something that I could pause, come back to later, and then finish watching it. It wasn't something that I sat through and just watched completely through. Like, I think I paused one time when he's getting sent to the future. I was like, all right, I got other stuff going on. This is hurting my head. I think I tried to watch it like before we did the Loki review, and I had so much Loki stuff like floating around in my head. I was like, I can't watch this right now. It's too much stuff going on at the time. But I love their theory of time manipulation and how they did it. To me, it was easy to understand and easy to follow. Sorry, Stuart. Take your earbuds out if you don't want this spoiled for you.
I don't care.
I like the fact that they went back into the past and they got people that were going to die within between 5 and 7 years and took them to the future because it was going to have no effect on time or what happened in the future because those people are already dead. That was very interesting to me. But the movie was also very predictable in what happened. Like, you knew who the general sergeant, whatever she was. Like, the minute you saw them looking at each other, you knew who she was. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like how they played the movie in order for him to have it to be a better father. You know what I'm saying? At the end, like, to me, that's a normal ploy. I feel like they could have did something better with that. They didn't play enough on the relationship with his father, and his father was badass in that movie. You know what I'm saying? the creatures were, to me, not a big enough of a threat. They could have been a bigger threat than what they were going to be. Like, they didn't have that, oh my God, these things are going to tear us apart type feeling that that other movies give you, like Tremors and the other big movie that it was related to that I'm blanking on, Starship Troopers. Like, it didn't have those moments for me because I think it was too sprung on just two characters. Like, the threat wasn't prominent enough. And I don't know. All in all, I thought it was a good watch, but it's not something that I'm running to tell my friends to watch. And it's not something that I'm rushing to watch again. It's not Black Widow. It's not even Wonder Woman to me. And y'all know how I feel about Wonder Woman, but it was a decent streaming movie. So I can't be upset about it like that. But this movie would have utterly failed if it went to theaters. Like, nobody was going to watch that.
I will say this. I am curious if this movie would have failed or not. And the only reason why I say that, if I throw out a number to you here, it says Amazon picked up the Tomorrow World for $250 million from Skydance. Do you think that this movie could have, at least at the end of its run, brought in $200 million worldwide?
No.
Okay.
No.
I think it might have been close. But I think that's probably why they paid $200 million. Probably the sense of, like, how much do we think that this movie, if it did go to the box office, how much would the return actually be? So it wouldn't surprise me if it probably would have broken about even from the $200 million. But that's just me.
Let me put this question out to you. Are you subscribing to Amazon Prime for the Tomorrow War?
No, I mean, but I keep it up there for more television series. I will say, when it comes to streaming movies, I think streaming movies in general are just hit and miss. I feel like TV shows have a better hit percentage than some original movies. So yeah, it's hit or miss for me. But no, I'm not picking up Amazon just for this franchise.
Yeah, and I think that's where it's going to be. I don't think this movie is the type of movie right now that you can market to moviegoers to get them to go and see it. I don't think it was big enough for that. Now, if you're going to put it in the theaters, I honestly think the movie would have been totally different. I think the pacing of the movie would have been different because this paced to me like a streaming movie. This paced to me almost like it could have been broken down into episodes if they wanted to do like a, you know what I'm saying, like a 6-part miniseries. To me, it wasn't paced as a movie. It went weird. It felt weird at times. Like, they had weird slowdown breaks and stuff like that. Chris Pratt, this movie felt like a WWE film. Like one of them things where they take one of their wrestlers and they put them in the leading role. That's what this felt like. The Chris Pratt felt like he beat The Miz out for a role.
Oh, God. Well, look, I will say this about this movie. When it comes to the Tomorrow World, I enjoyed it for certainly what it was. It didn't blow me away. I know some people absolutely love this movie. I liked it. I didn't mind it so much. The movie to me felt like it was maybe 30 minutes, a little bit too long. I felt like they landed on a really great sort of cliffhanger. The idea of him kind of coming back to their timeline with a message and things like that, right? I felt like, if anything, if they were going to have a sequel from that moment on, it would probably push into a sequel. But the movie decides, you know what, let's give them 30 more minutes of stuff. That felt like it was very quick to kind of wrap up a storyline to where by the end of the movie, I'm thinking to myself, okay, was that the sequel? Like, where do you kind of go from here? So part of me feels like they kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit. So I felt this movie was way too long. Probably could have cut out like 30 minutes of it and still been a pretty solid film. I think for me, what wins me over, not even so much Chris Pratt, but like for me, I think just the concept of this movie in general, the idea that you have your future selves coming into the past to request your help to fight a war that in the future you're currently losing, right? And then, just to kind of elaborate a little bit more, the idea of bringing in this worldwide draft to bring people in to fight this war. Clearly, once you install a draft, there's going to be people reluctant to want to even go and fight. Is this a losing cause sort of thing? That's a really cool concept to me that I whoever wrote this, I thought was pretty brilliant. I thought as far as directing wise, Chris McKay did a pretty good job in this. Definitely makes me want to see what he can do with a future Nightwing movie that he clearly is still working on, or at least feels that there might be hope for actually happening. So for me, I didn't mind it so much. Chris Pratt, I was okay with in here. I think the concept, if anything, kind of really worked for me. I will say this: the one place I will not agree with you, Indy, though, is the fact that I really enjoyed the monsters in here, the alien creatures. Like, they seemed extremely threatening to me, to the point to where I'm thinking to myself, like, the weaponry. I think even Nathan mentions it in here that they could have had better weapons to take down these aliens. Because anytime I saw the aliens, I kept thinking to myself, oh, all you guys are gonna die. Like, nobody's getting out of this thing alive. And there are certain elements of kind of throwing your sense of disbelief out the window, you know what I mean, for some of these characters to continue to survive through all this. Because if you ask me, just based off of the alien race, nobody's making it out of this movie alive, but they still managed to do so. And one concept that I did like, at least, was the idea of taking sort of these ordinary characters and giving them an element of like super heroics, even though they are like Joe Blow and John Doe from who knows where they certainly have come from, but to see these normal ass people with somebody like a Chris Pratt elevate them to where all of a sudden they come across like this Navy SEALs going in for like a secret mission, while there is a sense of having to hold your sense of belief, there was a little bit of aspect of fun that I really enjoyed about it. So I didn't mind the movie. I enjoyed it. I can see why they're certainly going to try and give us a sequel, because clearly there are people out there that really love this movie. But for me, it was just okay. A little bit too long. I felt like you kind of wrote yourself in a hole. So I'll be interested to see if they do, in fact, do a sequel, what the storyline is going to be after the way that they certainly ended this movie. But I thought the concept was really smart, and maybe the execution wasn't fully there, but I thought it had a really decent concept. Stuart, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I think the movie should have ended when he jumped back to the future. That's your ending of your movie. That should have been the cliffhanger, because like you said, I feel like they did the sequel, although we do have to figure out what those other aliens were. You know what I'm saying? And different things like that, where that it could not be over, but they gave us a little bit too much too soon. And I don't know. Like, I think I try to place myself in the movie, like, what if this happened in real life? I don't think those aliens take down this world. Just to be totally honest with you. Me,
America strong.
Me at myself in my house, I have a high caliber enough weapon to take down a couple of those things. So
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I do.
Me and the girlfriend immediately watched this movie and we're like, yeah, we're dead. We're dead.
Nah. Look. You and where you're at, sir, where you live at, where you do not need a friggin' permit to buy a weapon anymore. It's like I don't understand how you're even scared, especially if you're on a second floor of an apartment building.
No, I moved into a house. I'm on the first floor now.
You're on the first floor. That's where you might have an issue. But these things don't look like they could see very well. Like, I'm chopping them down, because I look at the stalkers that were in Starship. That's what they remind me of. The drones that were in Starship Troopers, right? That went out.
There are a lot of comparisons to Starship Troopers.
And then I'm like, I watched people shred through them with lower caliber weapons than what they were running around with. I'm like, yo, just give me a 5.56. You know what I'm saying? A couple of mags, And you know what I'm saying? I'm at least, and if everybody in my household is told, I have no issues. We're putting them at a choke point. We're taking them out.
Stuart,
Period.
this is a movie that I would love to see you do. Would I survive this? I really would love to see where you land in this. Let me ask you, Stuart. I know you haven't seen the movie, but based off of some of the things that we've said, what are your initial thoughts?
You know, I'm intrigued enough now to give the movie a watch. So probably sometime next week, I'll try to catch it before Sunday. But yeah, I don't know. If it seems good enough to get a sequel, then yeah, it's definitely a movie I should at least check out once, I guess. I do like time travel storylines when they're done right, and I do think Chris Pratt is a pretty decent actor when he's given the right role. So yeah, I'll definitely try to check it out at some point.
Yeah, I think if anything, again, the idea of it being a little bit too long, I think even some of the dialogue was rather cheesy from time to time. But I think what kept it in it for me was the action. I thought was pretty good. Special effects looked great. Chris Pratt was certainly decent in here, and I thought the concept alone was pretty smart. So we'll see what happens, guys. We'll see what happens. But listen, have you had the opportunity to check out the Tomorrow World? Did you enjoy it? Did it fall flat for you? Do you want a sequel? Definitely go ahead and let me know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below, guys. All right. And with that out of the way, we got two more topics for you guys today. The next one, I'll actually keep everybody up on the screen for this because the next one, this past week, guys, I did not know that it was in fact WitcherCon. The fact that WitcherCon after one season has a convention is remarkable to me. I mean, I know the video game has been around for years, several iterations, the books as well. But I guess the wild success of the very first season has allowed them to unleash this. So it feels as though we've got a Star Wars celebration, a Walking Dead convention. Now we got ourselves The Witcher. Well, this past week, guys, I mean, Witcher news just hit the internet. Not only do we get casting for the upcoming prequel series, Blood Origin, we even got like a trailer for the upcoming animated series that they're going to be doing, but we also got a trailer and brand new photos for season 2 of The Witcher as Henry Cavill certainly returns, guys. Let me go ahead and pull up some of these photos here for you guys. So they did go ahead and reveal to us that when it comes to The Witcher season 2, mark your calendars, guys. December 17th is going to be the big day that we wind up getting it. So The Witcher season 2 will be here, and we got some brand new photos that came out of there as well. So yeah, pass a coin to your Witcher, guys. I think that's fantastic. We have the opportunity to check out the trailer. Stuart, I'm going to throw this to you first, man. If you've had the opportunity to check out the trailer itself, what are some of your initial thoughts on it?
Looks absolutely incredible. I'm going to be totally honest. I'm actually in the middle of watching it like currently right now. And yeah, it looks like they're really up in the budget with this season, which is saying something because the first season was clearly not cheap to begin with. I absolutely love this because The Witcher, the lore with The Witcher and everything, it's so great. How expansive it is and how much they seem to be borrowing elements from both the books and the video games, and they seem to be doing like their own unique twist on the whole thing with this franchise. I love it. It's basically going to become Netflix's Game of Thrones in a way. I think when it comes to just kind of that fantasy, expensive fantasy element. I thought season 1 was absolutely incredible. I think Henry Cavill is perfect for the role, and it's also kind of why I want to see him. It's because of this show that I really want to see him being cast as the new he was casted as the new Highlander, if I'm not mistaken. It's why I'm excited about him being casted as the new Highlander. I think I'm really excited for this for sure.
Yeah, you bring up Highlander. Yeah, that's a great callback to the news article that we tackled a couple months ago. But he fits that role of sword swinging guy any time of the day. What about you, Indy? You've had the opportunity to check out The Witcher season 2 trailer. What did you think?
Put that first picture back up.
This one?
Yeah. It seems like he got some pull now because his pants are the tight as they was the first season. They put in the budget that let him have looser clothes.
Why
You know,
you want to see him with tighter
no,
clothes? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying they was trying to, you know, they know that's a handsome man and he brings in a certain demographic, and now they're like, they know you're here, you can wear looser clothes now. You know, they do it.
They drew everybody in with season 1, is what you're saying.
Yeah, they drew everyone in with season 1, and now he can wear looser pants and be comfortable.
But don't worry, I'm sure we're still gonna get plenty of bath scenes with him, so don't worry, we'll still have that.
Yeah, definitely. No, I thought the trailer was amazing. I thought the Witcher Con was done perfectly with being streamed on YouTube and Netflix.
Oh wow,
that was a big thing that it was streamed on Netflix. Okay, now come on, guys. Yesterday was my daughter's birthday, and I was getting yelled at because I was at the zoo trying to use my phone to watch some of this. Because I am a nerd. We tried it. That's why we invest in the technology we do, so that we can do what we want to do no matter where we're at. Unlimited data plans, guys. They were made for us, by us. Nah, but yeah, I'm all for this. The Witcher is something, books, games, and everything that I've been into for a long time. I'm glad that people are finally behind it. And it looks like something that is going for the win. I feel like it was the best move for Henry Cavill himself, especially what's going on with Superman. Because to me, as popular as Superman is, this character he's playing is just as popular. You know what I'm saying? So I think, man, it's a big future going for this. This man is finna play prominent characters from Superman to The Witcher to Highlander. Like, what can he not do? And the fact is that he's totally into the lore and the art form of the stuff that he's in, the roles he's playing. So we couldn't ask for better actors to be suited up as these characters that we love.
I didn't watch the reveal over at WitcherCon, but I saw some photos and some like memes that people had pulled of. I guess they were sitting down interviewing Henry Cavill at WitcherCon, and he was like pointing out stuff from like the set design that like of the WitcherCon that like. That he found resemblances to, not only from like the Witcher video game, but like other sort of like RPG tabletop games and stuff. He's calling out like, that looks like the castle from so and so. That looks like, I'm like, this dude is 100% nerd when it comes to this type of stuff, and he fits into this world so incredibly perfectly. I think you're right, Indy. The idea of him not sitting on the sidelines and waiting for things to happen when it comes to Superman, pushing his own career forward, getting himself into this particular series, and now upcoming Highlander. I mean, yeah, he's doing all the great things for his career for sure. But I really love this trailer. I've been so excited to get back into these characters with her, and even Siri now get an opportunity to see that she's clearly growing in this second season in here, finally getting them see them together, and exactly the Witcher having to do his job in regards to protecting her. So I'm really interested to see how this kind of comes across. For me, when it comes to season 1, I think what I loved the most was probably the storytelling aspect of the different time periods and how they kind of eventually merged at the very end. Like, it was certainly a little bit confusing at first in the beginning, but once you start understanding how they're telling this story, I thought it marvelously kind of came together, very much so at the end. So yeah, give me more Siri, give me more Yennefer, give me more Gerald. I'm here for it, man. I'm here for it.
Yennefer.
That's probably what Gerald is saying too.
Yeah, don't worry. Marcelino, watch this. Henry Cavill and Joe Magalinafa, or whatever his name is.
You put your names on purpose now?
No, that wasn't on purpose.
Joe Manganiello,
whatever his name is. Yes. Huge D&D fans. You know what I'm saying? Like, like one of the reasons why I believe there's been a resurgence in that is because our culture has become so prominent that it's actually cool, you know what I'm saying, and worth your brand if you're into that, to go ahead and let that out or get involved in something in it. If you look at a Meg Thee Stallion, which she pronounces Sasuke wrong, and some of the information she puts in her songs are totally wrong when it comes to Naruto lore, but you can clearly tell that she's a fan of anime and the Crunchyroll sponsorship and how that got her more fans, you know what I'm saying, to follow her and up her thing. The same thing is happening to these dudes that's coming up and playing these characters that are really into these roles, because they're actually getting people who are going to support them through more than just the television media. You know what I'm saying? They're able to go to these cons. They're able to go and sit down and play D&D live and have thousands of people viewing them doing this. Because the average person that just has a crush on Henry Cavill, like my baby mother and my ex-wife, they're not going to tune in and watch him play D&D.
Every female in the world.
And talk about, you know what I'm saying, that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But we will, because we want to see how much he actually knows about what he's talking about.
I will say real quick, last year when they had Hasbro's Fan First Friday or Fan First Con or whatever it was, I can't remember the name of it. They were highlighting Dungeons and Dragons, and one of their hosts was in fact Joe Manganiello. The fact that he's sitting down and like literally talking to the creators of these D&D games and these, the new cards that come out, or like the new figures that come out that you could put on your the playing board and things like that. I mean, the guy just completely nerded out, and you really just get to see how involved and how much he absolutely loves this stuff. It was incredible to watch him host a Dungeon and Dragons sort of panel. So you're absolutely right, Indy. I think the idea of these big stars having grown up with this and showing their love and letting it know that, like, I'm a part of this world. It's cool to be okay with this. I think definitely it's just bringing more attention to that type of world for sure.
We should definitely get together and play D&D live.
I've never played it in my life.
That'd be awesome.
I've never played it in my life.
And you know what the problem is? I think you would get way too into it, Adam.
Probably. I mean, it's one of those things, like, as much of as a nerd as I am, I'm like, that's too nerdy for me. But now that I think about it, like, just the idea of like even watching like Stranger Things and seeing them play D&D, like, it looks fun as hell. And I feel like that's probably one of the reasons why I haven't even tackled it, because I know I would probably just get sucked into it, because I love role-playing games in general.
It is a money pot. D&D is a money pot. But now, because of so much of the literature and stuff being available online and everything like that, it's actually easier to get into it. But Chris Hemsworth plays.
Oh, not does surprised. He? Okay, yeah, not surprised. It's like he almost replicates himself after a Dungeon and Dragon character, just big old massive as he is, some sort of warrior or orc killer for all we know. I will say this, because you guys have probably played the video game, based off of the Witcher Season 2 trailer, is there any elements to the game that kind of jumps out to you that they're going to start focusing on? Because I know that they mentioned the idea that the Witcher series is really kind of pulling a lot from the book material first, more so than anything. Anything out of the Season 2 that's highlighted from the video games?
I actually haven't played the video games.
You haven't? Okay.
Yeah, everything I know from the video games was from watching my girlfriend play it.
Yeah, okay. That to me, they're just pulling more from the books. The books are way better than the games, but the games are some of the especially Witcher 3 with the Wild Hunt expansion is some of the best RPG play that you'll ever, you know what I'm saying, play. Controllers is a little bit wacky, but it's one of the best RPGs that you will play. But they're pulling a lot from the books. What I do see more is some of the monster design and stuff seems like it's done after what they look like in the video game rather than just the description in the books. So we'll see.
This series was my first dive into the Witcher world, and I absolutely but again, you guys know I'm a big fan of swords, dragons, magic, witchcraft. Like, I'm there for all that. So the idea of being able to be thrusted into this world really intrigued me. And again, I was a big fan of not only the characters but the great storytelling that they had. And again, while I was kind of confused just based off of how they had their timelines kind of reworked, I was like, wait, this comes before this, wait, no, this is after this moment. But once it actually all converges, it's just like a light bulb goes off in your head and you're like, oh my God, this is such a great series. So I absolutely loved it. I'm really looking forward to seeing how these characters grow now that we have Ciri and Geralt together. So I'm super pumped for that. And they definitely highlighted that a ton here in this particular this episode, or this trailer, if you will. The idea, when I run, you run. When I say run, you run. When I say hide, you hide, sort of thing. But this girl don't look like she's getting ready to run or hide from anything. It seems as though he's definitely training her or building her up for bigger things. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one thing that was funny, I think the reason I didn't get too confused when watching Witcher season 1 is because my girlfriend had already watched like a few episodes ahead of me, and so she kind of just already hints to me at the beginning. Okay, so just so you know, they do a Westworld type thing with the timeline. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Now I know what to expect.
Yeah, I feel like when I was trying to convince people to watch the show, I think one of the things I said was it may be a little confusing the first few episodes, but once you start realizing how the timeline is kind of playing out, you're gonna enjoy it all that much more.
Marciano says, if the Golden Dragon returns to season 2, can the production team redesign it so that it won't look like a golden chicken nugget? No, because that's one of the funniest things ever, and I want them to matter of fact, I want them to purposely do that. And if they could pull a Game of Thrones and have like a McDonald's chicken nugget thing still on set, like a box that they didn't take off, like the Starbucks cup, and do something like that.
I love it. I love it. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Is it cool if I highlight like two things from Henry Cavill that came out from like, just overall his experience on Witcher?
Sure.
So first one that I absolutely love was an interview that he did. I'm sure you guys have probably seen it, where someone like asked him if he's been playing the Witcher video games, and he's like, oh yeah, definitely. I wanted to make sure I read the books and played the games before doing the role. And so someone asks him, okay, so do you play on Xbox or PlayStation? And he just looks at him like, you serious? PC.
PC, man. Yeah, like
The other thing is Henry Cavill. Okay, so I normally don't follow celebrities with their pets or anything like that. Henry Cavill, I got to make an exception because his dog is the coolest freaking dog ever. Mostly just because I have a soft spot for Akitas. The Akitas are like my all-time favorite types of dogs.
Love Akitas.
So anytime I see his dog on set, I'm like, yes, I am super jealous of his dog.
Yeah, man. I haven't seen his dog before, but yeah, that's massive. What is that, Akita?
Yeah. An Akita. His is it Japanese? Yeah, Japanese Akita, because I had an Alaskan Akita.
Did he name his dog Kal-El? Is that his name? Dog's name?
If so, good for him.
And showing some Henry Cavill love today, guys. But listen, we want to know your thoughts. Have you had the opportunity to check out the Witcher season 2 trailer? We are going to be getting the second season before the end of the year. Remember, December 17th, season 2 drops over on Netflix, guys. So if you haven't had the opportunity to check out the trailer, please do yourselves a favor and certainly check it out, guys. If anything, I think I'm probably going to do a little bit of a rewatch before that series winds up hitting. And I don't believe we did a series review for the channel, so if anything, maybe as we get closer to season 2, maybe we will drop ourselves a late season 1 review for you guys for The Witcher. Are we gonna say something, Indy? I thought you had something.
Oh, I was gonna say Marcelino gave me the proper pronunciation of his name, and I just told him we butcher all names equally here, but I will try to pronounce it right the next time.
Yeah, see, I never mispronounced Marcelino's name. I definitely have that one under wraps there. All right, guys. But we got one more topic for you guys today as we transition over into the world of the MCU, fresh off of getting the opportunity to check out Black Widow, which again, guys, later on this afternoon, we will be having a Black Widow spoiler review for you guys. So certainly go ahead and join us then. But now that we've gotten Black Widow out of the way, guys, one of our other future movies for us to certainly look forward to is Thor, Love and Thunder, the 4th installment from the character Thor, and the second time that Taika Waititi is in fact going to be tackling it. Right off of Ragnarok, he's going to be jumping right into Love and Thunder, which I believe is currently filming, if it hasn't already wrapped, if I'm not mistaken. So it's almost here. But this past week over on Empire Magazine, they also had the opportunity to sit down with Taika Waititi, and he winds up giving us a little bit more insight in regards to Love and Thunder. And I don't necessarily know if this is what I was expecting him to say, but when you hear it, it kind of lines up exactly with everything that Taika Waititi certainly does. Now, whether or not this is going to be worrisome for some of you or a breath of fresh air, we'll definitely see, because I know that Ragnarok certainly hit some people, either greatly or in a bad way. For me, I absolutely loved Ragnarok, probably one of my favorite installments of Thor. But guys, when it comes to Love and Thunder, it might be even crazier than what we wind up getting when it comes to Ragnarok, which is a little bit hard to wrap my head around, to say the least. But let's dive a little bit deeper in regards to some of Taika's words. So this is Love and Thunder is so crazy, it shouldn't make sense, is what Taika Waititi winds up letting us know from EmpireOnline.com. It says, let's see here. It says, from its Hulk arena fight to the flight up the devil's anus to Jeff Goldblum with stripy blue paint on his face, Thor Ragnarok remains one of the most enjoyable bonkers MCU movies to date, a cosmic action comedy with the spirit of Flash Gordon running through its neon veins. But by the sound of it, we ain't seen nothing yet. Taika Waititi recently wrapped production on its follow-up, there answers my question, to Love and Thunder, and hyped the fourquel, okay, up on his Instagram as being the craziest film I've ever done, is what he says. He also goes on to elaborate. He says, well, just between you and me and the readers, I've done some crazy shit in my life. I've lived like 10 lifetimes, but it's the craziest film I've ever done, is what he says. If the film's plot remains under wraps, we do know that Love and Thunder will somehow weave in the return of Natalie Portman's Jane Foster. But he also goes on to say, if you wrote down all the elements of this film, it shouldn't make sense. It's almost like it shouldn't be made. If you walked into a room and said, I want this and this and this, who's in it? These people. What are you going to call it? Love and Thunder. I mean, you'd never work again. Maybe I won't after this. And then he also goes on to say, it's very different from Ragnarok. It's crazier. I'll tell you what's different. There'll be far more emotion in this film, a lot more love, and a lot more thunder, and a lot more Thor, if you've seen the photos. And yes, we definitely have seen the photos, Taika. So yeah, we get the opportunity here that Love and Thunder, if you thought Ragnarok was crazy, clearly we have not seen anything yet. So let me pass this over to you first, Indy. I want to know your thoughts in regards to this. First off, how did you feel about Ragnarok? I know some people, maybe the overly comedic tones maybe took them out of the movie. How did it feel for you? And the fact that he's clearly pushing the envelope a little bit more, not only to be just so crazy, but he also highlights the idea that there's going to be a lot more emotion in this movie also. What do you take away from Taika Waititi's words?
Well, if you didn't like Thor Ragnarok, I don't believe you're a Marvel fan.
Oh, God.
Just to be totally honest with you, Ragnarok was probably a top 5 movie. You know what I'm saying? In the Infinity Saga, it was definitely the best Thor movie, and brought a lot of aspects of the character development of Thor and Hulk in that movie, from where they were when they started to where they are now, and dealing with the things they were. So, if you didn't like that movie, you weren't a fan of character development. I still want to know the character Taika is playing in Love and Thunder, because I believe that is going to be the most hilarious moment in the movie. I'm glad that it's going to be more Thor, because I was scared that this movie was going to be like Thor just passing the torch and kind of leaving type thing. And then moving on to another person named Thor. So I want to see a lot of Chris Hemsworth Thor in this movie, and where he's at after Endgame, and how he's dealing with he's one of the people that I want to see how he's dealing with the loss of Tony Stark more than anybody else, you know what I'm saying, in the MCU. Because if you think about it, Thor's lost the most when it comes to anybody else. He's one of them who he's lost a brother, he's lost his dad, he's lost his mom, he's lost his home. And now he lost, you know what I'm saying, one of his best friends, and he's just running around the galaxy trying to find himself. That's the movie I want to see, along with the B storyline that they're trying to tell. So I'm totally interested in this. And like if Taika says something shouldn't make sense, then it's possibly going to be the best thing you ever watched in your life.
Yeah, maybe coming from the mind of Taika Waititi, you might be right in regards to that. Let me bring up one thing real quick, Stu, before I get into it. So he says this movie will somehow weave in the return of Natalie Portman's Jane Foster, who is expected to wield Mew Mew at some point in the movie. Plus, you've got Christian Bale as Gore the God Thunder, plenty more celebrity cameos, hang time with the Guardians, and Thor with big crimped 80s hair. So, Stuart, listening to all that, should this movie make sense?
I think it's going to be metal AF. Definitely. Yeah, no, I'm really excited about this. I think with Thor Ragnarok, a lot of people that didn't like it, I'll be the first to admit, like the very beginning of Thor Ragnarok, I wasn't sure if I was going to enjoy it. I actually thought it was going to be really bad just because it felt way too different from the previous two movies, and then rather than slowly kind of easing us into this more like kind of comedy style of Thor, it just kind of hopped right in there. And at first I didn't like that, but upon rewatch, I think it was kind of a smarter decision in the long run, because it helped us help tell us right off the bat, yeah, this is going to be a lot more like Guardians of the Galaxy and a lot less like the previous Thor movies. And in the end, I do think it ended up making like the best Thor movie out of all of them. That said, I always thought that movie was pretty insane by, on its own. And now hearing that Taika Waititi is going to try to up the ante with this film, I say bring it on. Looking at the, TV show Loki, I feel like at this point, Marvel has shown that they can tell all sorts of different types of stories. You can have really grounded stories like Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Black Widow, but they can also go to these amazingly like over the top, areas like they do with Loki. And seeing Taika Waititi being as funny as he is, like he has made some hilarious movies out there. I don't know if you guys have seen either the movie or the show What We Do in the Shadows, but yes, absolutely a great time. So seeing him bring that to Thor Ragnarok, and yeah, it gets me really excited to see what he's going to be bringing to the table with Thor Love and Thunder.
Yeah, I got to agree. I think you make a good point too, in the sense that when it comes to especially with what Marvel's doing in the television realm, the fact that they really have tapped into a ton of different genres, really just being as creative as possible when it comes to telling these stories, them not just being more generic comic book movies, if you will. I definitely agree with you. I think just watching Loki is a perfect example of that. And so, yeah, so when it comes to Taika Waititi, I think him having a grasp of this character and pushing the envelope just makes even that much more sense to me. I can see what you mean, Stuart, especially in the beginning of Ragnarok, and I think that's probably an aspect of the movie that some people again took away from the idea that they maybe weren't the biggest fan of the overly comedic tune to things when it comes to Thor Ragnarok. But for me, it really did work. I love the fact that it was vastly different. And I definitely agree with you too. I think the idea of me maybe the first 5 minutes of the movie still trying to wrap my head around like, what am I watching? Like, or is this movie going to take itself seriously at any particular point in time? And clearly the movie definitely does. But I think Taika brings such a great balance, not only to humor, but also just drama at times. And I think for me, just going back and even seeing another movie that he did in Jojo Rabbit, I think is akin to that also, that while he does have those comedic tones, he is able to get into that lightheartedness, that emotional side, that dramatic side at times. So when he says something like, when it comes to Love and Thunder, that while it is going to be crazier and it's going to be different, there's going to be far more emotion in this movie, a lot more love. I definitely do think that it certainly still needs to be balanced, even though this movie is going to have just some outlandish scenes. And one of the things that we've kind of talked about too is, where are they going to focus on its main story, right? One of the things when we talk about, Natalie Portman's character coming back and Jane Foster now being the mighty Thor, in the comic book, she deals with the concept of, having cancer, having to fight that off and things like that, her own personal battle. Granted, we still don't know if that storyline will make its way into the movie, but if you are looking for an emotional pull at the heartstrings, that's certainly a way to go ahead and go about it. So I kind of get the idea of what Taika is saying, that maybe this movie probably shouldn't be made with all the craziness that we have. But if there is somebody that I think can grasp that that bonker aspect and also balance it out with emotion and lightheartedness, I think Taika's the man for the job to certainly do it. So I do think this news will worry some people for sure that weren't big fans of Ragnarok, but I think people that appreciate Taika Waititi and what he's able to do as a filmmaker, this will be crazy as F for sure, and very metal, like you said, Stuart. But I do think there's also going to be a great balance that every MCU movie certainly has, and I think Taika is the man for the job here. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this, man. And Stuart, I think more and more that we talk about it, the more and more I think we're going to get that training montage that you want of Chris Hemsworth getting ready.
Getting into shape, going from fat Thor to the really muscular Thor that we see in this photo.
Yeah, wouldn't it be great? Like, it would be great if, like, since he's such a Chris Pratt is such an 80s guy, like, wouldn't it be crazy if his inspiration is Hulk Hogan? Like, what if he just happens to watch a bunch of old wrestling and Hulk Hogan comes on the screen and that motivates Thor? Because Chris Hemsworth is going to be playing Hulk Hogan in a documentary. I think that would be kind of.
I just thought of what would be hilarious as a gag. You have him doing like an 80s montage, like while there's like an 80s song going on or something like that, and then just like in the middle of it, it just gets interrupted by Chris Pratt being like, "Hey Thor, can I have my Zoom back?" And then that's what cuts the music. You see that it was like, Thor listening to music while working out
off his Zoom.
Yeah,
yeah, you definitely want that Zoom in there.
He's bigger than Hogan ever was. He's reaching like John Cena, Triple H sizes right now.
You don't think those are like
crazy.
You don't think what Hulk Hogan had 26-inch pythons?
24, and they weren't really 24. That was
he exaggerated.
He's exaggerated. That was the whole joke about Hogan. He was exaggerating. He was bigger than what he.
I don't know. His arms was gigantic, bro.
Like go look at the size of like Max Triple H's and John Cena.
He was,
you know what I'm saying? Arm sizes. Look at John Cena now. and you know what I'm saying? It's crazy because Scott Steiner's I think were 28.
And he looked creepy already. Muscle on top of muscles, like a Popeye cartoon.
Yeah,
you gotta have muscles on your muscles.
It was like a bump and then a bump and then a bump. It was
even The Rock now. You know what I'm saying? Like the size he is. I think Hogan was just bigger than what a normal person was at that time. Now they pop them out regularly. Look at Chris Hemsworth. Look at a lot of these action stuff we're seeing now. They just come out like that way regularly. Like they just come out the womb, muscles. You know what I'm saying? But that's modern medicine for you, and the diets and stuff that we could be on now with the workout plans, just efficiency with it now. Especially how crazy that some of these actors go up and down in weight. So I salute you and how y'all do it, man. Wow.
You look at Chris Chris Pratt, and then the dude from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the way they like are able to just gain a lot of weight, have that like beer gut as I like to call it, but then like within a year they can just make themselves incredibly ripped, depending on what role they're doing. Like holy crap.
Shoot, Christian Bale and his friggin' self.
Oh God, yeah, no, that's just scary. What he
lost all
did.
that weight. Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
One last kind of thing I want to bring up though is Adam, I'm really glad you brought up Jojo Rabbit, because I think that's a movie that really shows how Taika Waititi can make you laugh your butt off and then immediately like feel super emotional. Like there's just one scene in general in that movie that I won't spoil because I think everyone needs to watch it, where you're just like kind of taking a complete 180, but it works so good because you just have this one visual and you don't even see the whole thing, but you see enough to put like pictures in your head and you're like, oh no. So you go from laughing your butt off to like suddenly you're choked up. Like I hope we get that, especially if they continue with the cancer story. If they do the cancer storyline from the comics, I really hope we get an emotional moment like that in Love and Thunder.
Yeah, there was it's funny, like even though I've only watched the movie one time, I swear anytime that thought pops up into my head or that scene or somebody mentions that scene, every time I just think to myself, damn, like it still hits me when I watch it. It's just that good of a scene. But yeah, it definitely just showed that the talent of Taika Waititi. So again, while this movie will be bonkers, make no mistake about it, I do think that there is going to be a great balance in here. And if he says there's more emotion, I gotta agree with him. I will say this one last thing, guys, in regards to this Thor: Love and Thunder before we move on to live viewer questions. I did see somebody on Twitter the other day that was kind of upset. And I don't know if they have reason to be, because it's just based off of just a simple theory, but based off of everything that we've seen with Loki and what the series has kind of been introducing us to in regards to variants and stuff. Somebody brought up an interesting topic about the idea of, like, what if Jane Foster's Natalie Portman is a variant? Like, what if that's not our traditional Jane Foster that we remember from the past? Wasn't there a photo of Natalie Portman just decked out, looking great, with like some heels on, some a leather jacket, some jeans. I mean, she was just looking incredible. Definitely felt like a different Jane Foster than what we have come to know. I mean, maybe the character itself has certainly grown over the time since we've last seen her. But the idea of a variant Jane Foster with the Loki series doesn't sound like it's too out of the question. I just want to, again, it's just a theory. What do you guys think? Do you think this is our Jane Foster from the past MCU, or do you think this is a variant?
I to be honest with you, I think it's the past. Just for the simple fact that when you find out you have a life-threatening disease, you tend to live life to its fullest. Like it changes the way you act sometimes, especially when you say you're gonna live your life, you know what I'm saying, for you, no matter how much time you have. But I think that is an interesting theory. But I think that is what Loki is meant to make us do. Look back at everything and pick and pry everything apart. Because speaking to individuals in particular, the people who watch Loki are more likely to go back and rewatch stuff in the MCU, trying to catch stuff and pick stuff out, rather than, you know what I'm saying, if they don't. So I'm seeing a lot of people pick stuff apart after that, but that just means that Loki is incredibly written in order to make you go do that.
Agreed. Yeah, no, I don't think that's the area they're going with. I think if anything, her cancer is probably going to explain why she ended up leaving him. I don't think it was because like they fell out of love or anything. I think it was just because she knew that the world needed him, and she was probably, a part of her was just too afraid that if she told him about the cancer, that he would spend too much time, with her, and not enough time like protecting others that might need help. Yeah. That's my prediction. Anyways.
Because he was in love. He took that hard.
Yeah. But he tried to play it off as if it was like a mutual breakup in the third movie.
Yeah.
Because we never do see like what ends up ending their relationship. So I think that would be kind of a cool like take on it if they did it that way.
But definitely seeing them in Endgame, once he starts bringing up the ether and then just going back memory lane, and like how emotionally heartbreaking, he's just talking and talking, trying to deal with this grief. Everybody's like, all right, I can't
go in there. You go in there. I can't do it. You do it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go.
We got beer on the ship.
Yeah. So yeah, should be great stuff, to certainly say the least. It's definitely a movie I'm really anticipating and looking forward to. But guys, we want to know your thoughts. You hear these terms from Taika Waititi, the craziest movie he has ever made. This movie is so bonkers it probably shouldn't even be made. He may not have a job after this one. What are your guys' thoughts? Does it give you hope? Does it give you worry? Definitely go ahead and let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, guys, that will in fact wrap up all of our stories here for the day. So thank you very much, guys, for definitely joining us. And if anything, now is the time for us to go ahead and tackle your live viewer questions, ladies and gentlemen. So we do have ourselves quite a few. Let's try and blaze through some of these. These are actually a combination of what we missed out on last week because we were off the air due to the holiday. But now that we're back, let's go ahead and tackle some of these. So question from Jessica Friedman: which Batman villain do you think will be the new main villain in the next season of Batwoman?
I'm hoping Poison Ivy because of the little teaser we got at the end. Like they didn't tease her specifically. They teased like one of her like plants getting loose. But you know, if that happens, you know, I could easily see like GCPD trying to make a deal with her, like to contain the situation in return for time off. But of course, it's Poison Ivy, so of course she's got a plan to completely escape. That's my prediction on how they could do it. Anyways,
I would be down for that. What about you, Indy? I kind of think that. What would you like to? You think what Batman villain do you think will be, if there will be, or do you think they'll stick with Batwoman?
I don't think it's going to be a Batman villain coming in. I think it's just going to be regular thugs getting a hold of villain tech and being some interpretation of those villains. That's what I think it's going to be, because I think majority of the main story is going to deal with Batwoman and her mommy issues. That's what it's going to be.
Gotcha. Yeah. She does also ask if you think Kate Kane will make a guest appearance in Supergirl before the series ends. No, I don't believe so. You think so?
Well, that's exactly what she said. Where are you going now? I'm going to National City to see a friend before Kate Kane. At the last episode of Batwoman. Where are you going? I'm going to National City to see a friend before I go look for Bruce. Those are her exact words.
Okay. maybe there's room in it for Kate Kane. What about you, Stuart? Do you think that's going to happen?
I don't. Sadly, I feel like that line was thrown in there because, like, yeah, it's going to be off screen when she talks to Supergirl. That's how I think they're sadly going to do it. I hope I'm wrong, though. Keep in mind, I really hope I'm wrong, because I would love to see Wallace Day on Supergirl, but I think they casted her like well into Supergirl's production, so I don't think they would have had time to like bring her into Batwoman and then Supergirl, especially with COVID restrictions. But I hope I'm wrong. Let me like emphasize that. I hope I'm wrong, because I would love to see Kate Kane and Supergirl get one last hurrah together, even if it's not Ruby Rose, even if it's a different actress.
Mid-credit scene.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know if it's going to happen, but that's not to say I don't want to see it happen. So we'll see if that comes to fruition here. Marcelino Vasquez has a couple of questions and comments. Which franchise would you like to see make an animated anthology series focusing on what if storylines similar to that of Marvel's or What If or DC's Elseworld? So which franchise would you like to see make an animated anthology series focusing on what if storylines? I've got two in mind real quick. Star Wars for me, obviously. I definitely would love to see some what ifs, and I think people that weren't biggest fans of the sequel trilogy would probably love that also. And then probably Power Rangers. Give me Power Rangers. I wouldn't mind a what if thing on Power Rangers also.
You took the two biggest answers that I would have gone with. You know what? I'm going to bring it old school and be like, and I'm going to say that I would love to see more what if, because they had one episode that kind of tackled that idea. I would love to see more what ifs in the Buffy the Vampire Slayer universe, because there's quite a few fun ideas that you could do with that.
I like that.
People are going to make fun of me.
Fraggle Rock. No?
Nah. WWE.
Interesting.
I like that, actually.
I kind of dig that.
I've been wanting a true like animated like series with the characters that Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, you know what I'm saying? I've been wanting like overemphasize, like, you know what I'm saying, things with storylines behind those characters and stuff like that. Like a little anthology animated, whether it's anime or American art style, like that type of thing.
That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, I would love a freaking Fiend animated series to give us more insight into that character. That'd be fucking cool, man. I love that idea. Let's see here. Also ask, since The Boys has cast a number of characters for season 3, how do you think the production team will balance out the characters in terms of screen time and development, especially since any soups that aren't part of the 7 usually play a role of helping develop the main characters and then get killed off immediately? And this season in particular, in promoting and putting a lot of focus on Soldier Boy and his team Payback. So yeah, how do you think they'll balance the cast of characters for this season? You think they'll do it pretty well or what?
Well, the 7 right now are not even really the 7 anymore. So you need a group to step into that, you know what I'm saying, place to quell the fear and the anxiety of, you know what I'm saying, the American people in the world. So that's one way they could do that. I mean, that's comics 101. When the Justice League isn't around, we'll replace them with something else until the Justice League comes back, type deal. And honestly, the marketing behind Soldier Boy, because of who you casted, is the smartest thing in the world. That's why that's Jensen friggin' Ackles. That do you understand the fan base that is behind that man? Not only soap operas, but the supernatural fandom that is behind that man. You promote everything he does, from liquor to the cars he has to build up. You are finna get an entirely different fan base that is finna be attached to this show just because of that one person you cast that's probably only going to be around for one season.
Yeah. I personally think the show does a good job of, when they introduce one character, they know how to like sideline the characters that aren't really important to the story anymore. So I feel like that's what we're definitely going to get with season 3 as well. I feel like, the Boys season 1 and 2 have done such a great job of balancing all the characters, giving the right characters the screen time when they need it. Even with the villains, like I feel like there's, obviously this isn't me trying to say I keep saying Captain, even though it's just Homelander. This isn't me trying to say there's any justification for anything he does, but when you look at his backstory and you realize his kind of overall motive, and you see like how much of a victim he is, in which, and by victim, I mean just in the way everyone can manipulate this guy because he's so dumb, you get an understanding for them is all. And I feel like, knowing the Boys season 3, we're probably going to get that with Jensen Ackles' character.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you guys both. Plus, I really have loved how they've handled all the characters for the most part. I mean, despite even already having a pretty good size core of main characters, I think they handled them pretty well. So, when it comes to the Boys, I'm not necessarily so much worried as I am when it comes to like other television series. I mean, Titans, anybody, right? So that's really where I'm landing at. But I love what the Boys are doing.
Leave Titans alone.
Let's see here. And then Marcelino's got one more question. He says, when Disney was making the sequel trilogy, why couldn't they just make a copy and paste of Legends material, a la the books?
Ooh, actually, I know exactly why they didn't do that. Go
for it.
So like the main reason they didn't want
Kathleen Kennedy didn't think they had other material out there.
Oh no, it's actually just because, like, marketing wise, one of the biggest things that would make it so it wouldn't be as marketable was Chewbacca, because Chewbacca gets killed off in Legends, and they did not. He was like the number one thing they wanted to keep like alive, because he's like one of the most marketable characters in the movie, because it's so easy to sell stuffed animals and action figures of Chewbacca, because everyone loves Chewbacca. So that is literally, like, I'm not saying that's the only reason, but essentially when looking at the pros and cons of whether or not they wanted to keep Legends canon or not, that ended up being the overall thing that made them choose in the very end. That was kind of the straw that made them go, yeah, we'll just not consider Legends canon anymore. That'll just be Legends.
Yeah, so those who don't know, Chewbacca in later Star Wars novels gets hit with the moon. I think a moon winds up crashing into a planet, and he's left on the planet, I think, trying to evacuate it or whatever the case may be. And Homeboy literally gets crushed by a moon.
I'd die happy knowing it took a moon to kill me.
yeah, right. Like, if somebody's gonna go out, that's the way to go out. I don't necessarily. I mean, I get the idea. I mean, there's plenty of source material that Disney probably could have certainly tackled. And, there are elements that I certainly probably would have liked to have seen. Like, I was kind of hoping that Jaina and Jason, the Solo twins, would have made a debut in there. I know we wind up getting a Ben Solo, which there is was a Ben Skywalker, I believe, the son of Luke, in there. So there clearly are some elements that they nitpicked from, but I'm much more of an appreciator of original content. It would have been cool, like, not to say that they can't go back and make animated versions of some of these and bring them into the current canon timeline. But I'm much more of an appreciator of just creating an original storylines when it comes to movies itself. Maybe if it was a television series, maybe I would be cool with that. But I think in hindsight, looking back on it, yeah, it's probably easy to see, man, they should have just copied and pasted legend stuff, But I think the idea of tackling it as an original film was done, I think was the best choice, even though unfortunately the execution might not have been there. What about you, Indy?
Art thrives in originality. I feel like doing something original was better than a copy and paste, no matter what, unless you're Game of Thrones, I guess, because it would have been better maybe they can't copy and paste if you don't finish a book.
Yeah,
so they have to do original.
Come on, man.
Well, I guess that's a bad example, but nah, it to me, I wanted something original. If I wanted, I like when they animate the stuff from the books better, because a lot of the stuff when you going into the legend stuff, just to me, I don't see how that translates a lot of it into live action. I think a lot of that just looks better animated, and I'm actually looking forward to them, and I think they will give you something legends like animated. I think that's just further down the road after they finish everything they're finishing. But no, I was cool with originality. I didn't really have a problem with the movies. But the problem, I think the thing is, because I don't intake everything Star Wars, that I can go and watch that and be cool with it. It's similar to it was similar to Power Rangers for me until Adam introduced me into Sentai, ruined everything American Power Rangers that I ever watched after that. And I blame him for that. For me not watching Power Rangers now is because he introduced me to Sentai. But I just think that people are now, and we're in a time where we're so catered to what we want. We get food on demand, we get games on demand, we get television on demand, we get everything we want how we want it on demand. That now, and because of how things get canceled and we're able to push things to get changed, we feel that everything should be the way we want it, and it shouldn't be. People have visions on stuff, and I feel those visions should be able to come forthright, and that's what we have imaginations for, and conversation and debates on what could have been better and stuff. It, to me, is just better this way.
Yeah, and again, not to hearken any, not to say the legend stories were bad or anything. I just think we just prove of more originality, I think, than a copy and paste. And I think there's other ways that they can tell those stories if they wanted to at some point in time. But I do think originality is key if you can. But the execution matters.
And there is one last kind of factor, is that like Disney wanted to have like a very fluid continuity, although that kind of slightly changed with the Bad Batch, but that's, anyways, with that all being said, the problem with Legends that a lot of fans constantly deny, but even me as someone who hasn't read every Legends book out there, I can tell you, there wasn't communication as much with the authors, because they were all kind of written by, really big fans that got their stories published. So because of that, there are quite a few stories that tend to contradict each other. Like, they try to stay on the same page, but unfortunately at times there are some books that just you can't possibly see existing in the same universe.
Yeah, and I think also it's also important to realize, like George Lucas himself, I didn't really recognize the Legends book as canon at all. You know what I mean? So I think the fact that Disney now acquiring that stuff, wants to go out and make their own canonical history and timeline of Star Wars and things like that. So I think that probably played a big role in it too, like you mentioned, Stuart. All right, let's see here. AJ, got a couple questions. Let's see if we can get through these kind of quick. Did you guys watch Fast and the Furious 9? I myself really enjoyed it, and some of the characters actually reference all the crazy law of physics stuff. And what do you want to see in the final Fast 10 next year? A lot of past characters from past 3 films came back. Did you guys check out Fast 9? I have not done so yet, but what did you think of it? And what do you want to see in the next one?
I had a blast with it, just like the other Fast and Furious movies. really fun. Don't think about it too much. And I like how this movie kind of acknowledges the idea of like how ridiculous the franchise has gotten. You get scenes where like one of the characters is literally like wondering how the hell he's still alive after everything they went through. There was like an impossible like thing that happened where he's surrounded by people shooting at him. And it's kind of like, it reminded me of the scene in Pulp Fiction where Samuel Jackson and I forgot the other dude's name from Greece. They're both getting shot at point blank, and yet somehow, exactly. And yet somehow every bullet misses him, and he's just like, "No, I'm not leaving until you acknowledge this is a miracle." That's kind of like what happens in this movie. Is you get one of the characters just going, like, "How are we surviving this kind of thing?"
Look, I'm acknowledging that this is a miracle for the fact that you don't remember who John Travolta is, and you relate him. The only movie you relate him to is Grease.
Sorry, that was like the easiest one to like pop into my head.
I watched it. It's a Fast and the Furious movie. The writing is getting better to me because the explanation of Han and how that happened was well done. Honestly, it's something that was thought about because a lot of these storylines in this movie really aren't thought about. You know what I'm saying? In previous entries, they just try to be bigger and better. This seems like they actually want to tie all the movies together in order to make sure that when they end it, there are no loopholes. Everything had a purpose. That's what it feels like this movie started. And the only thing that I don't like is the fact that it also means that probably everybody that died isn't dead.
Yeah. I think they kind of established that though in the 6th movie when Michelle Rodriguez turned out to still be alive.
Yeah.
And that made zero sense.
But this one was that made zero sense. The Han thing actually made sense with the way they explained it. But this freaking Gal Gadot thing that is floating around, like I watched you hit the pavement. Like I watched these people mourn you. Nah, bro. The dude who's saving people is not Superman. I don't think he pulled this off unless now they have cloning technology.
Maybe this is a series I'll have to go back and rewatch some of these. Maybe me and the girlfriend will run down this rabbit hole of Fast and the Furious movies.
Well,
you should watch it in chronological order.
Yeah,
so
but
wait
watch
until after the 6th one to watch Tokyo Drift.
Yeah, because Tokyo Drift takes place after the 6th one, and the way they're writing the story now is that Tokyo Drift is probably the most important Fast movie in the series.
Oh God!
Despite it originally being treated like a spin-off film, it's now like
it's the most important movie now.
Well, that's what everybody's doing now. I mean, look at Thor: The Dark World, right? Like MCU's like, I know you guys hated this movie, but this is the most important movie.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, Tokyo Drift was probably my 3rd favorite Fast movie because
that's my favorite. I love like the drifting stunts that they do in that movie.
It was
looks
really
fantastic.
Good. Because I feel like you guys are like the minority.
No, because it proved that they went out to prove a point that since Vin Diesel didn't want to come back, we don't need you to make a good movie. And with him not, because Too Fast, Too Furious was horrible.
Oh God, yeah,
it was so bad. And when Tokyo Drift, they went back to the basics, and that's what took you back to tie into what Fast 1 was.
But did it prove its point? Because the 4th one, 5th one, 6th one, 7th one all had Vin Diesel in it. So did it prove its point?
No, because Vin Diesel found out that he couldn't be taken serious as an actor doing other. That's the reason he came back, because this is where the money was. He went off and was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be typecast. Oh crap, I need to be typecast. And went back. That's where the family memes are coming from. This is what he's been doing for the past 11 years.
Family. All right. Well, another question here. How do you guys feel with The Flash being the only Arrowverse show still on the air right now, while everything else is wrapped for the summer or on brief hiatus?
Oh, I thought he's gonna say still exists, and I was like, I still consider Batwoman Arrowverse, to be totally honest with you, because
he does say, do you expect the Godspeed arc to change how the show is right now, like any high hopes or lows?
Actually, I've enjoyed the way that they've done. They've given Godspeed at least just due. He's not a throwaway character anymore. He's been around for more than 2 episodes, so that makes me happy. But I'm curious to see how they're going to wrap up August Heart in 2 episodes. If they wrap up August Heart in 2 episodes, or if this would be something that they take into the next season. I feel like they're reaching their stride. I do feel like whatever was going on with Candace Patton and her not being there kind of hindered the episode, because it feels like she was, it just feels like her character was supposed to be more involved in everything that was going on right now. And they're having to fill space because she's not there, and that's what it feels like. She made a brief cameo in this last episode, so hopefully she returns full time for these next 2. But Candace Patton herself doesn't even want to talk about the Flash right now on her Instagram, or Grant Gustin. So this is getting really interesting. But I feel like it's going to get better. I'm hoping it doesn't end, because I want August Heart to be done right, because this is the first legitimate speedster villain since Salvatore. So don't just make him a throwaway. The speedster war is important lore in the comics, so I really feel like it's going to get better. And with the introduction of Impulse and XS coming back, I really feel like you're going to see some interesting things happening. I can't say words today for some reason.
Yeah,
Marcelino's got in your head, man.
I've been actually liking these last few episodes. I think like ever since the Cecile episode that we got, that was really good. Like the next episode after that, not so much with the Ultraviolet, but like these last couple episodes though with Godspeed have actually been really enjoyable. With Candace not being around though, like from what I had heard, this was from what I got from watching Paige's YouTube channel, is that that was just because like with the way they've been filming this season, there was no like break that the actors usually get to visit home, and I guess like she was feeling like really homesick, so that ended up being why they gave her a little bit of a break because of that.
She's feeling homesick, so she went to Mexico.
I don't get that joke, but no, I don't know. But like either way, like from what I understand, that's what it is. So she should be back for, if not the next episode, definitely we know from some photos that were leaked from Canada Graphs that she will definitely be in the season finale.
Yeah, I will say this. Just going back to his first question in regards to how do you feel that The Flash being the only Arrowverse show still on air right now? You know, I'm a little bit torn. I don't know how to feel about the Arrowverse right now, where I'm at. I mean, I know he says right now while everything else is wrapped for the summer or on brief hiatus, but I just mean like as a whole, the idea of the Flash being like the last remaining Arrowverse show, since we're going to be saying farewell to Supergirl and Black Lightning. There's a part of me that feels a little bit bummed about it, a little bit of an injustice about it, but then also a part of me is trying to wrap my head around the idea that I do think that this is just them moving on, just the Arrowverse is kind of, not to say that the Arrowverse will completely go away, but I just feel like the Arrowverse as we know it is farewell and kaput, and they're really moving on to other things, because I still think that CW will hit us with brand new series over the next couple of years for sure. I think the idea of introducing us to Naomi and things like that, there was a potential for a Wonder Girl series at some particular point in time that I wouldn't be surprised if that eventually comes back around. So, the addition to doing Stargirl and stuff on the CW. So I just think it's just a different way of them tackling sort of this Arrowverse, or now maybe transitioning more into what they're referring as like the CW verse, if you will. So I'm not quite sure how to feel about it. I think I'm still on that, don't want to say goodbye to yesterday type of thing, but also trying to understand at the same time that they are just revamping it and bringing new characters in. So I'm a little bit on the fence. I just feel like there are certain shows like The Flash that have lasted so long. I think you could probably get one more season out of Supergirl. I think Black Lightning could have done 2 more years. But if it really is the idea of just moving on or pushing past, I get it too. It's just a hard balance for me to wrap my head around sometimes.
And
go ahead, because I feel like I just feel like we're forgetting Legends and Batwoman were introduced in the Arrowverse.
No, I was actually gonna say though, with Legends and Flash, I feel like those are probably going to be the ones that are going to be ending like next season, and essentially like it'll be kind of like the new standard for like Arrowverse shows is going to be like Superman, Batwoman, and Stargirl, where it's going to be the kind of HBO/CW budget going into these shows going forward.
Yeah, I know you're right. I mean, Legends is certainly still there, but Legends is just his own thing right now. Like,
Sarah's still there because when she leaves,
Yeah,
is it technically still an Arrowverse show if she leaves?
I mean, is it technically still Sarah? No, I'm kidding. I won't spoil anything, but like,
okay. Yeah. All right. Here we go. Doomsday's we got 3 more questions here. Do you feel like the spider bite in the original Spider-Man movie was a little rushed, and the writer should have added more time with Peter Parker as a normal kid?
No, I think it worked perfectly with how long the movie was.
The 80s movie or the 90s movie?
I'm in the Sam Raimi movie, I'm assuming.
I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna be totally honest, and please don't get mad at me for this. I always started that movie at the wrestling scene.
Because you know the lore, right? Is that what it is?
I've always started it at the wrestling scene. Like, even when I went and saw it for the first time, I walked in at the wrestling scene. So I don't care about what happened. I don't want to see Uncle Ben die anymore. Like I know he died after that, but like I get tired of watching that. That's why I think I'm so attached to Tom Holland's story, because it started after he's already, you know what I'm saying, Spider-Man. We know all that happened before. We just get to see him spit by a spider, radioactive spider, does his thing, puts on the costume. Now let's get to the movie.
I think for me, I didn't mind it so much. I didn't think it was rushed. I thought it was a pretty good amount of time. I mean, I feel like Sam Raimi just always did such a great job of, even though we do see him get bit by the spider, I mean, I still feel like you understand who the Peter Parker character is, I don't necessarily know if they needed to elaborate a little bit more to show him as a kid per se. So I thought it was pretty good. But again, I think we grew up with comics. We've seen this origin story so many times. Even when the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man drops, it's not like that's the first time that we've seen the origin story before or read about it. So for me, I was okay with it. I didn't feel it was too rushed though. Have you ever watched a Marvel movie trailer in theaters before? Yes, I'm sure we have. If so, what was the first one you saw in theaters? What was the first Marvel movie you saw, Marvel movie trailer you saw in theaters?
I want to say it was the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man, but I probably, if I saw a trailer for like X-Men back in the day, I was too young to remember it.
I don't remember the first one that I saw, but I think the one that really impacted me the most was probably the Avengers trailer. Watching it in the movie theaters, the fact that they tacked that on to the end of what was the first Avenger, if I'm not mistaken. I was not expecting like a brief teaser trailer at the end of it, so it blew me and my friend Jonathan and Michael, it blew our minds. I mean, the audible geek squeal, like when it happened, like we people couldn't get us to shut the fuck up in the theaters from that point on. But I that's the one that I remember the most.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I remember, because at the time, like, the after credit scenes for Marvel, not all the movies had it because the Incredible Hulk in it. So I remember staying around for the ending credit scenes of Captain America, being like, oh yeah, they might have one, but I'm not 100% sure. And not only did they have like a little teaser, which is what I expected. I expected it to just end with Nick Fury saying, I'm trying to save the world. I did not expect we'd get like a small teaser at the end there. So when that happened, yes, I also jumped out of my seat, super excited.
And I feel like that was a time period when people still hadn't learned yet, to stay in your seats, wait around sort of thing. So the fact that we did, I don't remember the theater being that packed anymore. I think a lot of people had left. So it definitely felt great to be like, oh shit, we saw something that a lot of people didn't see. I thought that was pretty cool. What about you, Indy?
Blade. Blade was the movie I remember seeing a trailer for. I forget what New Line Cinema movie I went to go see that had Blade in the trailer, but I remember seeing that trailer. I remember techno music, and I remember going, I remember that character from the Spider-Man cartoon, like not knowing who Blade was. And then I remember buying tickets to go see one of the most amazing movies theater experiences that I ever had.
Yeah, Blade was something else, man. Especially if just for comic book characters in general, just comic book movies in general. Like I was like, holy, Wesley Snipes was incredible in that movie.
And that was I think we went and saw Blade before prom. I think it was. I think that was the movie we went and saw.
I would have hyped
prom.
up my prom so much, man.
Not prom. We went before. That was 98. That was before we went to freshman registration the next day that we went, because I was a freshman in high school when Blade came out.
Okay, nice. And then last question from Doomsday. For Black Panther Wakanda Forever, do you think they'll have the Marvel logo intro be the same one that they used for the Black Panther on Disney Plus?
Yes.
Because that's the all Chadwick Boseman one, right? The tribute.
Yes. I don't know if they'll have that one, but I think it will be a tribute. And I think it's just going to be characters from, you know what I'm saying, like the Black Panther movie, the Wakanda universe. It's gonna be something like that. It might, and it will end with Chadwick Boseman, like in memory of type deal.
I don't know how you do the Marvel intro for or how you do like an opening for Black Panther without it being like very emotional. So I imagine this Marvel logo having like no music at all, but just like you guys were saying, like probably just like a big tribute to Chadwick Boseman in terms of like basing the logo.
If they want to do, and please don't do this, it's gonna make me cry. If they really want to do it, it's no music, but it's him as a voiceover.
Oh,
yeah, man.
And bro, don't let me do it, because I'm gonna have him as a voiceover, and I'm gonna have it end with him saying Wakanda Forever, and then go into you know what I'm saying.
Title. Yeah. I would love that. But yeah, no, I do think they'll definitely do something special for that Marvel intro. Whether or not it's exactly the same thing from Disney Plus, I would still be okay with that too. If they wanted to just do what they did for Disney Plus and pop that on there, I'm okay with it. But I do expect that Marvel Studios to do something special.
But if you do what we said and you don't credit us, we're suing.
All right, guys. Other than that wraps up all of our live viewer questions for the day, guys. So thank you very much for certainly joining us. Again, don't forget, we definitely have our Black Widow spoiler discussion for you guys later on today. We have it scheduled for 4 p.m. right now. I might change the time on that, but we'll definitely keep you guys posted. So definitely pay attention to either the Facebook page or our YouTube page, and feel free to certainly join us if you've had the opportunity to check out Black Widow to join us for our spoiler discussion video. But other than that, guys, I think that's going to wrap it up for us here today. So thank you very much for certainly spending your Sunday afternoon with us. But fellas, if they want to go ahead and reach out to you on social media, Stuart, where can people find you?
You guys can, of course, follow me at TurboStew01, where I just post random things here every now and then on Twitter. And, of course, you'll be able to follow my Superman reviews here on APlus Opinions, along with Stargirl once that series finally premieres. And then on APlus More Phenomenal, you can watch my Kamen Rider reviews.
Awesome, Stuart. Thank you very much for certainly coming through, man. I think Kamen Rider's almost wrapped up. Am I right?
Yeah, I think so. We're on like episode, I think 43 is the one coming out tonight. And I'm not sure if they're doing 45 or 50 episodes this season, but either way, we're getting there. We're in like that last stretch.
That last stretch. All right, man. Well, I appreciate your reviews as always, Stuart. And Indy, if people want to go ahead and reach out to you on social media, where can they find you?
Oh, I just practiced pointing at that thing and then you moved me. Down there in the corner, the APlus Hero Report, you can always find me here doing news and reviews. We got 2 episodes of The Flash left, so make sure you guys join that. I am doing the last episode live for the last episode. Nice. I never do that, so it's going to be an event. But you can also catch me over everywhere at Nerd Mix Alpha, and you can stream my music. Just search Indy Uchiha.
And for those of you who don't know, Indy will be joining me also this Wednesday for our Loki review, as we will be getting into the season finale for you guys also. So join us live Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central Time as we talk about that. But for ourselves, if you want to follow us here, feel free to do so at APlus Opinions right up here or right over here. I'm very active over on Twitter along with our main Facebook page where we post all of our news articles throughout the week that we eventually highlight here to keep you guys up to date. And then if you want to check us out over on Instagram, you certainly can as well. But other than that, guys, that's going to go ahead and do it for us. We certainly will be back for you guys next weekend. So tune in every Sunday live at noon Central Time for our episodes of A+ Hero Report. But in the meantime, guys, do us a big favor. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And as always, keep it A+. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye. If you enjoy our content and want to be a part of helping our channel grow, become a patron supporter. We have affordable tiers to choose from that offer a variety of exclusive and early access content, from audio files for all of our shows for you to enjoy on the road, access to our Discord community, and plenty of reactions, reviews, character breakdowns, and more. Check us out at patreon.com/A+opinions. And as always, remember, like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so anytime we drop a brand new video, you will be notified.